salty.
The Dos Equis
malty
Ambers
beer
are
guy.
good. Okay,
No,
we
no,
are
no,
live.
those
Those are
And
good.
see, I wish Zoom like
You
kept
like
the
malty
same
beers.
positions because don't tell me what I like.
Well, I fucking seen it. I've seen you drink them.
Yeah,
Hold on,
don't
I'm
you tell
swapping
me
all the.
what I don't or don't like.
I need to swap all the names. Damn it! What?
Maybe we need to.
Well, it's like selecting them all. Oh my god, are you watching this, Ben?
Goodness, no, I'm not. But now I want to. Hold on, let me pull it up.
I just moved I just fucked everything up. Okay,
On the
hold on.
Utes. Did you post the link already?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
cool. Let me just open it in Discord then.
Where's it at?
I don't even know.
It's in the Discord.
I see next movie. I see We Live. Oh, it's We Live.
How do I
Oh, there it is.
Hmm.
There it is.
reset transform?
Wait, where is
There
it?
it is.
Is this
Okay.
link to us live? Is that?
Well,
It's not available.
it should be it.
It's not
Hmm.
available.
Live link, yeah.
I don't think it's live linked.
Oh, you
It
said
should
it's
be
not
it.
available? I
Huh?
actually was. I'm just looking for it on the Utes.
Oops. Well, I'm testing it right now.
Um,
Live on the stream, watching us live. Perfect.
God damn it! I
Oh,
guess
there
I
it
do
is.
actually
I
have to
mean,
pull it up on
okay,
It
now
Discord.
should
it's
be, it should be working.
That was weird. Okay, it's working
All
now.
right,
There's
okay.
You did it too fast. That's why.
That's so weird. The lag.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
don't listen to it. It's like on a 5-second delay.
Yeah.
Don't
it's
tell me
not
what to do.
Oh yeah.
good.
I'm gonna mute that.
Like father, like son.
He's got a point,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
Hold on.
That's weird. I don't like looking at this weird delayed version of us.
Yeah.
I just
you
keep
don't
it
like
open for
seeing
the
Strange
chat.
parallel universe.
You don't
Yeah.
like seeing.
You don't like
Wait.
seeing
You look like
5 seconds ago, Jeremy?
Wow.
No.
After all with the lighting and the compression and everything, I literally look like my head is about to hatch.
It kind of
Right?
does.
Any minute it's gonna get.
You got an egghead there.
I do have a bit of an egghead. Well, the glasses
Danon,
don't
you look
help.
like you've got like that, like one of those Instagram filters on, man.
I
Were you trying?
I am losing my. I literally spent
The
an
ladies-
hour
the
today
ladies.
trying to figure out how
Who
to get
else?
rid of this. I
I'm
can't get
pretty
rid of it.
sure that's Roswell too, right? Or is that X-ray?
I think it's I think it's Ludwig or Nashville.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah,
Nashville
yeah, yeah.
actually.
It's Ludwig.
Yeah,
or
me and my-
Nashville. Yeah, Nashville's probably. More
I actually have on the egghead. What do you call it? Filter.
the filters.
Head?
I'm gonna make
The
one for you,
egghead,
and
yeah.
it's like every 30
Body?
minutes a new crack is gonna appear,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like mapped to your head, so when you move around,
That'd be a great.
I'm gonna
Snapchat
draw.
filter.
I'm gonna draw a crack on my head. For the next time.
You-
Like tonight, it's like extra egg, but it looks when you watch the stream because of the compression and everything, it's like double egg. I look like, yes.
Double
you look
A's.
like
You
look
look
like
fine on
the
the
Sonic
stream.
villain,
No, no,
Dr.
no.
Eggman.
I'm fine with it. I'm beautiful, but it's just funny to make fun of my baldness.
Yeah.
Well, you
Um,
know, I mean, Daryl, it's okay to be insecure about the fact that you've got a great big old head.
It took me about 2.5 years to get over it, but yeah, I'm good now. I used to be very insecure. I was hat guy. I remember during the old podcast, I had a hat on every time, and
Hadn't you
Yeah.
been bald for like a decade after?
I've been
before?
balding
Uh,
4 decades.
For quite some
But
time.
the
I
the
knew
decision to
at
go-
19. I knew at 19 that things were getting slim.
Hmm.
Oh,
I
I
had
guess
long
I have
hair
a
at the
little bit
time.
more time than you.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you look at pictures of me from my 30s, I was fine still.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, how it is. It's like you think
had
you're
the wig.
balder than you are, and then when
Yeah.
the balder you get, it actually reverses, and you think you're less bald than you are.
Oh, there's like a peak.
It really does. I look back
There's
And
at
it
a
goes
peak.
the other way around.
it
It's
does.
th-
It
that,
swaps it.
that peak is right about here.
It's actually
yeah.
right here.
It's
I got it
about
right here.
So, no, it was weird. So, like, yeah, when I look back at pictures of me when my 30s, when I thought, oh my god, like it's like halfway back on the back of my head, I was fine. And then when it was really halfway in the back of my head, I was like, it's fine, it's up here somewhere. And then that's when I was like, okay, it's time to. Oh, and I started doing sculptures. Like I take like
You had that unicorn horn.
yeah, I did the unicorn for a
Unicorn.
while, but I would do this thing before I did my faux hawk, my balding faux hawk. I would take it and like put all this shit in it, and I would mix it up like a salad and cover the baldness. I was doing
Like a hair
like
product salad.
Was
yeah,
that
the
when you were
product
using
salad.
Caesar dressing as a
Yeah,
homemade?
I had a little Italian in there, but I'd make it and it would cover the channels of baldness that I had approaching, right? And then I had this island Earth and then the channels of baldness. But I started covering that, and that's when I was like, oh shit, I'm doing it. I'm doing a comb.
You're
Like,
doing
but I
the
had to
thing.
convince my head, right? This is not a comb over because it's a salad. And then that's when I was like, it is. I just got to shave it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you did the right thing. You became like,
Yeah,
I've always
you
figured
own
if
up
I,
to it.
Yeah.
if I go bald, I'll just like get ripped and be Mr. Clean. Right?
Oh, that's what you're waiting for.
Wait.
Mr. Clean.
Okay, good.
wait
Good
till you
to
get
know.
bald. Don't do it now though. That would be a mistake.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm literally gonna wait till I'm bald and then get ripped because,
Yeah.
like, otherwise it's just like the goal is to maintain the same level of attractiveness, right? I don't want to
Yeah.
peak young and then go bald and be like, oh, I lost something. I
And
want
then
to
you
go
lost
bald late in
something,
life,
yeah.
Then
and then
get
add
ripped.
something.
Yeah, it's like, oh
Um,
yeah, I went
yeah.
down a point, but then I went up a point
But
because
then
now
you
I'm
went up a
fucking
point,
ripped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going up 2 points and then down 1, and then all
It's
you
like
have
you're
is
starting
downhill
in-
Well,
from
like
there.
you got to think about it, right? Like if I go up 2 points in attractiveness, like what am I really
You'd be
doing?
a
Like I'm
4.
just
You'd be
I'm
a 4
setting
then.
somebody else up to lose 2 points in the future. I'd be a 4. Thank you, Daryl. I
You're welcome.
appreciate the-
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
think up
Then
2
it really
points.
is
Yeah.
all downhill from there. So you got to wait to get ripped.
Well, I don't want to trick somebody into falling in love with beautiful then. And then, 10 years down the line, I'm fucking bald. And
You
I'll
don't wanna
probably
hook-
not work
yeah.
out
And
anymore
skinny,
because they're
yeah.
already locked in. Like, Jesus.
You don't want to
Yeah.
bait and switch these ladies. Let me tell
I'd
you.
probably
that.
drop 4 points if I got ripped now.
This isn't a fucking stock exchange. Good lord.
Oh, Danon, but it is.
All right.
Yeah, just like-
Well, should we
All
start
right,
our
get
new
the
segment?
graphs.
yeah. Should we start the show? Or?
Okay, so I want to start the new segment. So we were talking about this
Oh,
last
okay,
week.
we're starting right now.
Yeah, we had this segment in the old podcast called Dear Asshole, and we're gonna kind of change it a little bit. So I'll start it off.
Okay.
Are each
Then
of
other
us going to
rules.
do one?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
because it's only a minute long.
It started on the last podcast though because I'm old and ornery and a lot of things piss me off. So
Mhm.
I used it as a way to rant about stuff, mainly about movies and theaters and people in theaters. That was my main rant, right? But
Yeah.
Okay.
Even today, you're like, man, I don't have anything, and then immediately had something. So
immediately
there's always something.
remember
There's
something
always
I was
something.
pissed off about.
Yeah. So I'll start it off. Basically, the rule is I have this drink. It's a full beer, and I have to, in a minute, I have to down this entire beer and rant about something.
How can you
Um,
drink and rant at the same time? I don't understand this game.
So either you
like,
can down the
sip
entire beer at
sentence,
once, or you can do the
sip
sipping.
sentence.
Yeah, you can do sip sentence, but you have a
I
minute.
think sip sentence is the right way to go.
That might,
about
that
it.
might,
Or
that
chug
might be a good
sentence,
way. Or
depending on
like go
how
half.
much.
Well,
I'm gonna-
gulp
I'm gonna-
sentence.
Or
Really
gulp.
is
Yeah,
the-
yeah. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah, you
I
can't.
that's
mean,
the
we'll
middle
learn the
ground.
strategy before.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
All right, so I'll start
All
this
right.
one off because I have one that pisses me off. All right, you ready?
Go
I
for
have
it.
my timer here. There's no widget for this, so I'm just gonna have to here.
There's no
All right.
widget for this. Make one.
We'll take your word for it.
Yeah, just make one.
Just fucking animate a clock.
So I fucking hate how.
Oh, it's I
Authors?
fucking hate. Got it.
Yeah, I'm
Ah.
changing the title now. I hate how authors will like create these new sentences and similes and metaphors to describe very basic things. So like I'm reading Game of Thrones right now, and the thing that pisses me off is when he's describing genitalia, because he's always like the wetness between her legs, and it's just like when you're reading it, you're just like, oh god.
It is pretty gross.
Oh,
It's kind of cringy.
can't
Only
drink
because you
anymore.
know what he looks
Or
like.
his manhood or something, and it's just like, dude,
Yeah.
it's weird. It makes it so much
What
worse.
did he say?
I have 15 seconds.
Are we allowed to comment, or is it just all?
I think
don't
it's
know.
Maybe
his
we should do
time.
2 minutes.
Okay.
I don't think I
A
can.
minute
down
ain't
it.
long
Trevor-
enough, bro.
Oh.
I could rent for an hour on my shit.
Right.
All right, I'll
I
do.
think 2 minutes makes sense.
Oh, excuse me. All right, starting the next minute.
Another clock.
No, keep talking about
So-
how you don't like how George R. R. Martin talks about.
Talks
man.
about. Oh, it's so bad. But then everybody else also comes up with their own stupid shit too. It's like if they have a short haircut, their hair is closely cropped to the skull.
Mhm.
Oh
Excuse
my
me.
god.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that so much. It's so it's so over the top. Not everything has to be poetic. It's so frustrating, and every time I see it, I don't know why, it just pisses me off to no end.
I love how painful this is for him. Dude.
It hurts my chest, dude. But yeah,
Witness
since I'm
our
reading
first death on the podcast.
I know. The first drowning. And so I'm reading Game of Thrones right now, and the thing that really, really gets me is when he says lower lips. That just just
Oh,
disturbs me in a way that
Is he talking about her?
Talking
Is he
about
talking
talking
about her clam canyon when he says lower?
all right,
What did
all right,
he
all
just
right,
tell
all right.
you about
all right.
making up things, Daryl?
Okay.
Don't fucking make up new
All right, that's
terms
2
for
minutes.
genitalia.
Oh man,
minutes,
okay.
okay.
I forgot to do the last sip, but that's my rant.
Forgot to do that.
Stop coming up with colorful sentences. Just
So it's
call things-
funny.
He's got short hair. He's got a
Put
bald
stick
head.
up
He doesn't have
to
a
the
balding paint.
skull.
He has a weeping clam. So it's funny you say this because just this morning I texted this to my brother. I rode my bike in to work today, and I texted him, "Munch some miles on my Friday night pavement pounder this morning." And then after that, I said, "I really hate Insta sometimes." Because that's where you read this shit. Right? People try to, like I said, they try to sound clever with their writing. And some guy talking about how, oh, I could really munch that speedo looks like it's ready to really munch some miles. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then the Friday night pavement pounder I read on a website one time describing
That's a good one.
That is a good
I
one.
hate that so much.
That is stupid,
Hate
but
this
that's a
so
good
much.
one. Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I think it's fun actually. I think it's really fun to come
we're-
up with these things. I want to contest Danon's rant here a little bit, just because like
Okay.
one of my friends was doing a bit. He was being like we called him Trailer Park Pastor. He was like ranting about total fucking nonsense, like saying crazy things like, I believe in the power that believes in me. And it was pretty funny, but he said something to me because I was so impressed by this fucking bit that he just like kept running with. Like it had gotten insane at this point. And I was like, dude, were you a crazy person in another life? And he just looks me in my eyes, in my soul, and he's like,
Ooh.
he's like, another life. I deal in ises, not wers. It was the funniest fucking
You need to cut
thing
this guy out.
anybody's ever said to me. It was so funny.
Wait, it was
Jeez.
funny when he said it.
Listen, you're dealing with a lot of
Was it funny?
words over there.
You listen here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to start throwing out some ises. You
I'll show you
Trying
when
to-
it is.
Trying to figure this out.
better fucking bring this to an is right now, because you're fucking in
Yeah.
Whirlland over there, man.
All right, who's
Yeah,
who's
that's
going
true.
next? Who's going next?
Jeremy, you got one?
Okay, I got one.
All right, you ready? I'm gonna put a
So
minute and a
should I
half on the
crack
clock.
a freshie here?
Yeah,
This is like almost full.
Okay, that's
What
good
is
enough.
that?
That's good enough.
Okay.
What is that,
It's
right?
water.
Is that vodka?
It's
No,
water.
it's
Are you drinking
it was
urine again, or
a not a White Claw. The fuck? Not Truly.
Truly,
It was a
okay.
Truly with ice, but now it's just
Oh, that's weird.
Truly.
You threw
Truly.
a Truly into a cup.
All right, you have a
Yeah,
minute and
yeah.
30 seconds.
All right, go. For
Okay.
it.
Because 2 minutes is too
so.
long.
You guys ever taken a COVID test? Because let me
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
tell you. Okay.
did you take one?
Wish this wasn't
Is that
there.
what happened?
I took one, and it was horrible. You get in there, and first of all, they're only letting one person in at a time. Okay, so you got to wait your turn. Then you come in, and they just look at you like you're already fucking sick, and they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to give you the fucking pens, and you got to figure out how to sign the shit. But they don't want
would
to give
hate
you a
to have
pen,
said
so you know
yeah.
you should have just brought your own, probably. Then you go around the back. Coming out my nose. You go around the back, and there's supposed to be a medical professional there waiting for you. The fucking guy takes forever. Kind of like that Jabba's
Sound
palace.
like Rick and Morty.
All right. So this Jabba's palace scene where the robot is like looking at C-3PO, and he's like, "What do you want?" It's like that's the guy. He comes
Oh.
out of the door with the cotton
Really?
swab, and then he instructs you to take your mask off, but not take your mask off, and it's really confusing. And I got tinnitus in my ears, and it's hard to hear because things are ringing and there's a crowded street, and he's speaking through 3 layers of mask with the face shield and a mask and then another mask. And so I'm like,
Jesus.
what do you want me to do? Take it off or put it on? And he's
20 seconds.
like,
Impressive.
Jesus, buddy. He gets so frustrated
Oh,
with me because I'm
no.
not sure what to do. He's like, Jesus, buddy, can you hear me? Like, just fucking listen, you know? And
10
so then
seconds.
he takes the cotton swab, shoves it up my nose, and fucking like
Tickles your brain.
bullhorns me. And it just goes up in my nose. And after he does it, I was like, fuck you.
All right, time. That was pretty
You
good.
hurt me with the cotton swab.
Man.
Wait, they
Oh,
do it
man.
up your nose?
Oh, way up your nose. Like not
Oh,
even
yeah.
just
Where
a
you
little
getting yours
bit
No,
up
done?
they
your nose.
tickle your brain, man.
That wasn't a COVID test I had then.
What?
Ooh. We're just gonna
Anyway,
test for
I mean,
COVID
that's
in
just
your
weird.
prostate.
I'm
Hmm.
just saying.
Oh, was that funny when the other guy said it, Daryl?
Oh,
Yeah, I deal in
Or
is
the red
okay.
Touche, Ben. Touche.
dude, it really went up my nose though.
Yeah, I've taken a couple.
I haven't
of
had
them,
one
man.
yet.
Those brain ticklers are
They're not
rugged,
fun.
man.
They're
You,
not
you've
fun.
done it. You've done it, Ben.
I've
Actually, you know, the second time I did it,
Did you do it, Danny?
I
Yeah.
actually impressed the lady. It was like not my best look.
what? How are you impressing women taking a COVID test? I want to hear this.
Well, not because she was. a
Can I
lady.
make this? Can I make my rant about how
Depends on
stupid
what
that
nurse.
sentence was, please?
I impressed the
Okay.
sexless nurse with.
The sexless nurse.
Uh,
I need another
no,
one now.
because
I know, me too.
when she shoved it up my nose,
Jesus.
like I was more prepared for it because this is the second one I've done. And so like I just didn't flinch at all. And then she like pulled it out and she's like, "Do you need a tissue?" And I was like, "No, actually I'm good." And she like gave me this weird look of like I
And
don't
she's
even
just
know. I
like-
can only see her eyes, right? She had a mask on. But no, it was. Why are you trying to sexualize this? You can
It's
do
just the way you
impressive
said it
things
in the
with-
first.
She so wanted you, bro.
Okay,
So
you know what?
wanted
This
you.
actually, I do have a rant. Put
Covered.
put a minute 30.
Okay.
Put that shit on.
All
the
right,
clock.
all right. You ready? You want to do your rant now?
Yay!
All right, go.
All right. I'm sick and fucking tired of Instagram trying to sexualize my feed.
Oh, this is a good one.
I
This is a good
can't
one.
stand this, man. So my Instagram is mostly like illustrators and artists, right? I like a lot of different kinds of artists. I like cartoon artists. I like people that make portraits. I like landscapes. I like a lot of this other kind of shit. Some like anime influenced stuff. But for whatever reason, when you start following artists on Instagram, Instagram's like, "Oh, you want to see pictures of hot girls, huh?" And so
Don't you?
like, I mean, I like hot girls
The
and whatever, but
primary.
dude, I'm trying. It's my Instagram, man. Like, I could go watch porn. That's not a problem for me. But the fact that I'm in public, like, looking through art, and then all of a sudden there's like a fucking like picture of some girl with a see-through shirt on, like a see-through top, and it's like supposed to be all artsy and stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't want to see this. Why would you think that this is the content that you should serve to me? This is an Instagram. I'm not following any
seconds.
fucking models.
Hit that. That's a good strategy. Just save the last 30 seconds for the whole.
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
Exactly.
Do a minute of
Dude,
rant and then.
I'm so over it. I don't want to see a bunch of hot girls on my Instagram. I got plenty of other things that I could do to see hot girls. Instagram doesn't need to be one of them. Facebook, get your algorithm together and stop fucking up my feed.
Ooh, with
5
5
seconds
seconds to
left. Look
spare.
at
that.
Wow,
Speed
nice.
Jeez,
That's good.
man.
No,
Good
Ben
call.
has a really good point here. It's like you tap on one picture and then it's like, all right, let's get rid of everything else that you like and look at, and let's just show you pictures of girls with wet t-shirts. It's like why
Big
why
asses.
why? Like
You look at
seriously?
one-
T-shirts
you look
and
at
big
one-
asses.
I accidentally
I can't
um,
stand it. It's so frustrating because I want to get more art
Yeah.
content, and now I can't
Thank
get
you,
more art
yeah.
content because there's just boobs. I don't want boobs anymore.
can't-
Okay.
I accidentally
the
looked at a
art.
picture of some guy getting his head shaved or something, like faded. I don't know why. Now it's all dudes getting their heads faded. I'm bald. I don't fucking need to see this shit.
Well, now Instagram's just making
Instagram
fun of you
can't
at this
see that I'm-
point.
Yeah, just
They're
look
just
at my
trolling
pictures.
you.
Yeah.
Instagram just, look at my pictures and you go, well, this guy doesn't need to see a fucking head fade again for the 500 fucking time.
Oh,
So
man,
I
it's-
hear your rant and raise it because you got a good point. Though I
It's
do
like
look a
that
lot.
with everything.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
get a
there's
beer. I'll
like-
be right back.
For some reason, there's people
Can you
that
get me one
like
too?
there's people that smush clay on Instagram. Have you seen these ones?
Mm-mm.
I think it's supposed to be like satisfying videos or whatever, and it's people
Yeah.
literally like cutting soap
I see
or
when they
smushing
smash
clay.
stuff.
Yeah.
The press, that's
I'm like-
pretty cool.
I mean, they look cool, so they pull you in, right? You watch one of them, but then the exact same thing you just said happens. Suddenly, your entire feed is just a million different people like
Yeah.
mushing
Mhm.
clay or turning goop into beads
Like
or
a
like all
couple
this
is
random.
okay, but yeah, your whole feed just blows up with guys getting their head shaved.
Yeah.
And things getting smashed, and then I'm okay with the tits though. I mean, you can put all those.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing.
I
I get
don't
mad
hate-
about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes I'm like, well, all right, this is obnoxious. It's too much. But you know what? Then guess what I end up doing? Now that it's in front of me, I'm now contributing. It's a fucking
know,
vicious
It's
cycle.
You're
got
like
you.
looking
Yeah.
through all of them. You're like,
Now they've
"Yeah,
got
they
me where they
fucking
want
suck
me.
you in, man. This is a
Yeah.
problem. They should
But
not.
I also
Don't worry.
also say this. Am I clipping? Or I can turn my game down.
You said fine.
Yeah, you sound
Also
good.
say this though, there's just a shit ton of the content out there already. So I don't know how much of it. I mean, I guess it is Instagram's fault, but also there's so many of these profiles. There's so many different ones that it's
And how
just
are they
an
getting away with this?
oversaturation of
Oh,
content.
dude.
I don't know.
You know what's really actually I can kind of answer that. Well, I don't know what you mean by how they're getting away with this. Like, how are they able to post that content? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, nothing. No
What's-
one's naked. They're close.
yeah, they're like if
but-
you can see a nipple through a shirt, apparently it's okay by Instagram's guidelines. But
Yeah.
I actually
Took my picture
Jeremy,
down.
I have it so bad right now. I think because of the pure volume of like, illustrators that I follow that draw people.
Yeah.
Because every illustrator wants to draw women. Nobody really draws guys because guys are ugly.
Yep.
Sorry. it's
Not
just-
us, but
it's just
other
how it
guys are.
is.
Yeah.
Most
Daryl,
guys.
you called me a
course.
4.
No, I called you a 4 after you added your 2 to it. So I called you a 2.
You're right. You did call me two.
Actually.
We're being honest here.
But so like I think as a result of that, I see a lot more of this content. And honestly, what's weird is when you start realizing, like, wait a minute, that's the same fucking photo. Like sometimes I feel awful because I look through the content so often that I start seeing the same like photos from like posted by different accounts.
Different profiles, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
do
just
see that
like-
a lot. A lot of people get their shit stolen or whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, oh God, like now I'm like, I'm getting exposed to this content so often that I'm like recognizing the models
Yeah.
and the specific shots. Like I feel like I've
Yep.
involuntarily become a simp. Like it's weird.
They're turning you into
I've
one.
already seen that one. Find
Also-
something new for me, Instagram.
You know, about doing it in public though, or you know, looking at the.
Well, I
the
want to
stuff
look
public.
through my
Wait-
Instagram
Wait
in
till you're.
public, and that's why it makes me mad.
Wait till you look at. Well, wait till you're 48 and you look like me, and you're invisible to humanity anyways. And when you look like this, people expect you to look at those pictures anyway, so you're free.
I'm good.
bar just
Oh,
gets
that's
lower.
weird.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean, I guess,
good. That's weird.
I mean, whenever I see a dude doing exactly what I expect him to do based off of how creepy he looks, it doesn't make me feel like, oh, whatever. I'm
It's
just like,
fine.
oh, he's just as bad as I assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that creepy guy probably feels really good because he's like, good, I didn't
Yeah,
didn't
he's like-
disappoint.
Setting
That's what I was
expectations
like. I
and just
gave them
nailing
exactly what they were thinking.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
expected
Dude,
this. Looking at me.
I
so-
actually, I saw a creepy guy, like dude in his 40s, kind of sweaty, pimply, whatever. Take
White
a
van.
picture.
Candy.
Take a picture of
He was naked. I
of
was
a
naked.
girl in a Jimmy John's. He straight up took a stealthy
Oh,
picture.
God.
I watched
That's
him do
cre-
it.
That's
but that is
disturbing.
creepy. Yeah,
That is
Oh
disturbing.
yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is like, you know, like when the creepy dude does the creepy thing, I didn't know what to do. I was like, should I intervene in this? And then I was like, I don't
Slap
see
the
how
phone
this,
out of his
like-
hand. That'll be
Yeah.
funny.
There was one time I was in
Like-
a 7-Eleven, and this is back in California. I was in a 7-Eleven, and I was waiting to get. I was buying like a Monster or something like that. Like that's all I was there for. Nice, Jeremy. And then there was like 2 guys in front of me. One guy was like Ben described him, like older, like kind of looked like the type that would just like say crazy shit. And then this other just random middle-aged dude standing in right next to me. And then there was this girl at the counter, and she was like obviously going to the beach, like wearing a bikini top, short shorts, that kind of thing. And she was younger. And then the guy behind her like is just like staring at her ass. And then he just like turns to the guy next to him. He's just like, see, stuff like this is why we go to jail. And the dude that he was talking to was like, what? What did you just say? And
I went
I
to
was
jail
just
for
like,
bank
oh
robbing.
my
I don't
God. And dude, the girl, she
Stuff
was
like
at
this
the
is why
counter
we
was
go
just
to
like turned around, and she was just like, oh my God. Like it was,
It's a weird thing to say.
we were all about like finger hovering over 911. Like what is about to
Yeah.
happen? It was so bad.
I
So
wonder, like,
bad.
Man, it's like
Probably thought
those
it was clever
situations are
instead.
so hard to
God.
deal with because it's like where, like, yeah, I think Liz, you're absolutely right. I should have told that girl. The thing is, when somebody does like a stealthy picture, it's like I'm 99% certain that he took a picture of that girl, like the way that he used his phone and everything. But at the same time, like, what's the guy gonna do, right? You fucking call him out, you tell the girl, you start a scene, and then like the guy just says he didn't do it, and there's like that very slim chance that he hasn't done it, and it's like, fuck, man, like
Worth it.
creepy people know how to
Absolutely
get
worth it.
absolutely right onto the line to the point where people feel like they should intervene, but
Also,
It's
there's no way to
really-
prove it. What are you gonna unless you
yeah, it's
take that
really
phone out of his
hard.
hand? It's no
Yeah,
proof
and what are
worth
you
it.
going to take this guy's phone out of his hand and like, you know, get into a physical altercation with the guy? He might deserve it. Like, I'm not saying that he doesn't. It's just that it's like it's really hard to like in the moment be like, I have to like fight this person because he's violated this woman's privacy without actual evidence, you know, without just like being like, that guy totally took a picture of that girl. So it's tough.
What-
And yeah, even
what
in
if
Damon's
someone-
situation where the guy said something really fucked up, it's like it's hard to be like, I'm going to talk to this man about his behavior.
Yeah, it
What-
sucks
what
because
if
like
you- what if
there's
you
nothing I
think-
could do to change his behavior.
No, of course not. What if, but what if?
Oh,
More important question: what if you're standing in the line at the bank and you fart really, really loud, like really loud, like
Daryl,
been
is there
farting-
something that you want to confess to us?
silent but deadlies all day, right? Like all day silent but deadlies. You're thinking, and then it's you know you had nachos the night before,
Mhm.
and you're just all day and you're standing in line in the bank. Like, I'll just let this one go. Right? It's not going to make a noise. Bank's totally quiet. You let it go, and it is the loudest, lip slapping, greasiest fart you've ever laid in your life. Everyone, I've never done this. I'm asking if you guys have done this.
Oh, of
And
course.
This is
everyone
suspiciously
in the place is, I don't know what's going on, and then you just pretend nothing happened. I'm just asking, what would you do? Would you fight me,
No.
the guy? I mean,
Dude, I've
Or
smelled your
would you
farts. Okay, I grew up with those. I would fight you.
I would laugh.
Wait. Are you asking what would you do if you were the guy behind you, or if I were you?
no, I just want to tell a fart story.
Oh, okay. So
This-
I actually
No
I actually
hypothetical
have
is
a-
happening.
I have
It
a
was-
story that happened this weekend. I was walking out.
Did you fart?
No, actually wasn't me. I wasn't the offender. I was the witness.
Hmm.
I was rounding the corner to go pick up some DoorDash food.
Witness.
And so I like turn the corner and I just hear like the loudest burp, like, like a really authoritative, like letting it all out burp. Like you're with your
Authoritative?
buddies kind of burp.
Yeah,
You know?
The police officer do it? What do you mean?
Yeah, it
What
was
do you
like
mean?
it told me to put my hands on my knees.
Did you
Okay.
freeze?
So I hear this burp and I'm like, ooh, somebody just let out a real burp. And then this like older lady, like maybe her like mid 60s or something, walks past with her dog and she like locks eyes with me. It's very clear that she's the one that burped. And she like we have this standoff for a second where she like stops, looks at my eyes. I like lock eyes with her. We're like maybe 10 feet apart. And then she just goes, whoops.
Getting
Nice.
off great, man.
That
I
old
didn't
lady is
laugh or anything.
badass.
I just like I just let it go, man. I honestly was like,
You let go. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna beat this old lady for
I know,
burping?
you're gonna call her
No,
out.
Oh, this
I
once.
didn't-
This once.
I
You're
knew she was
lucky.
already horribly embarrassed. I felt like I
That's
wanted to
one.
laugh so bad, but I didn't because of I was like, you know what, just go, just get out of here.
Just get
I'll
out of
pretend
here.
like it didn't happen, and then I'll laugh about it on the podcast. I'll put it on the internet instead.
Just go.
Go.
Get your fucking life alert ass out of here.
Get the fuck out of here, lady.
I mean, what do you
Hit
do?
the
She's
road,
obviously
Granny.
already embarrassed.
Oh, that's funny.
You
Well,
burp,
it's a
you
natural
burp back
thing
at
to
her.
do.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
right. Show her
Give
Liz,
him
what's
motor.
in the future, I will, if I see something like that again, which I hope to God I don't, I guess I could I don't know, try to tell the girl privately. Maybe that would be an appropriate response. But yeah, I
Yeah,
honestly,
this
I
has
don't
got a
know.
point.
I need education on how to handle that situation. 'Cause
You
it
call the
wasn't
person
an easy
out.
one.
Because calling someone out is not going to do. It's not going to do a whole lot. I mean, you call them out and it draws attention to the situation. Of course, they're going to deny it. But
Wait, the fart?
She's gonna be
no,
the
not the
chick's
fart.
gonna
no,
We're
no.
talking. We're
Liz
talking
is-
about the
Liz is
taking
talking
a
about-
picture
We're
of a
back on the,
girl.
uh,
The
Like,
actual
creepy guy
the
taking a picture of a
actual
girl.
predatory
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
significant harassment compared to somebody farting in a bank line.
Listen,
it's-
You
be
haven't.
silent.
Have you smelled his?
Your friend
They are
thought it was
nuclear.
going to be silent.
they're nuclear, yeah. So it might have been offensive.
Yeah.
Might have got arrested for that one.
Rule of the day: call them out. Always call creepy people out.
Is
All right,
this
Dad.
a
You have a
movie
rant
podcast?
though. Yeah. You have a rant though,
Movie
right?
It might be.
Yeah, of course I got a fucking rant.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a beer though?
Spicy.
So, excuse me, what was my rant again?
It was about,
talking about headphones, I
headsets.
think?
Headsets.
That wasn't really it. It was something else.
It was
Told you
about
I
Best
forgot.
Buy. How nobody knows
yeah.
anything.
I don't think that was a good enough rant. But anyways,
Wait, are you going?
Drawing a complete fucking blank here. Drawing a complete blank. Welcome to getting older, guys.
I mean,
all
you can
gone.
rant about that.
No, I had it in my head what I was really pissed off about when we've talked about it, and they're like, let's save it for the podcast. And now it's the podcast, and I forgot what the real rant was.
We're getting all mad about headsets
Yeah,
at Best Buy.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was looking for this a headset where you can monitor yourself in your ears.
Yeah,
with-
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about people online.
oh, yeah, so-
Commenting.
so-
Okay, wait. Are you
Oh, that's-
going?
You're right. I remembered it now.
Yeah. Are you going?
Yes,
You have your drink ready?
I have it ready.
All right. Minute 30 on the clock. Go.
Okay.
You have to
Already
finish
drank
that thing. In a...
So, okay. So, anyways, I already drank the motherfucker.
Go get
I
a
don't
new
have any
one.
more beers. I don't have any more.
All right.
So, so I'm looking for a
Reloading
fucking
the beer.
headset that you use for your computer that is mic monitoring, so you can hear yourself while you're talking in the thing. And so I'm searching all the fucking forums and all this shit, and I really hate when someone will ask, hey, the same thing. I'm looking for a mic monitoring headset. Does anyone know a good one? And someone will answer with zero help, right? No, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. I've never used one. And it's like 9 people doing this. Don't answer, fuckface.
Is that where they leave it? That's
Nothing
it. They just
to
say, "Yeah, I don't know what
offer.
you're talking about." That's
Shut
it.
the fuck
You're
up.
Absolutely
And I see it
true.
in everything. Someone will always comment, well, no, I've never used it. It's the same people who rate shit on Amazon. Never used it, but it looks great. Fucking shut up. You don't even, or I don't know, they give it 1 star. Packaging really sucked. It has nothing to do with the fucking device. You
Yeah.
fucking cornhead. That drives me crazy. But I'm at Best Buy and I'm asking all these nerds, right? Hey, y'all knowing about some headsets with the mic monitors? Oh man, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? And it turns out it's really hard to find apparently, and that's why I haven't found one, except for
It
the
is
one
hard to
Damon
find.
sent me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
people offering zero help online really fucking irritates me. Just keep your fucking mouth shut. There's your help, dumbass.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the, I mean, when you're looking for an actual solution, you have to filter through all those responses, and you have to
Yeah,
scroll
yeah,
down
yeah,
and
that
find
actually
the
drives
one.
me nuts.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually gotten to the point where the like forums will highlight the solution response and put it
And
at the
it's
top.
the wrong
Mhm.
And if
fucking
you
solution.
no, I mean, for the most part,
Sometimes
it's
Oh.
pretty helpful.
but
But if you
usually it's
scroll
alright.
down, if you scroll down past that, you will find the responses like, yeah, I never really looked into this before.
Actually, the
but good
worst
luck.
thing, the worst answer that anybody could give to any question like this, especially problem-oriented ones where it's like Windows is doing this fucky thing, can somebody help me? Is yeah, I have the same problem. Second comment. Oh, I fixed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that when they say that they fixed it and
Like,
don't
you
give like.
fucking kidding me?
They're just
Yeah, but I
big
figured it
trolls.
out. I
Figured
see
it
that
out.
one sometimes
No
too.
big
Yeah,
deal.
but figured it out. Really? Do you want to clue the rest of the fucking world in on how you
Yeah.
figured
this
it
one-
out?
Well, this one really
Not
quick.
really.
The amount of people who answered thinking they had the, because people just want to be smart, right? They want to
Mm.
help, and I so I get it. That's an honest emotion, but if you're not really helping, shut the fuck up. So a lot of the answers were, go into Windows and turn on listening. Well, if you turn on listening in Windows, it's got about a 1 second lag. That's not an answer. You know what I mean? If you can't monitor yourself in real time without any latency, it's not an answer. But the amount of people who answered that and then went, there's the answer. You know what I mean? It's like,
I got
that's
you,
not the
yeah.
answer either. Fuck face.
And they don't
So,
give
yeah.
the like the worst thing about that monitoring is that you can't talk. You know, like if
unusable.
you have a
unusable.
1 second lag and you're trying to have a conversation, you cannot talk when you're listening to yourself.
What's that feature
1 second
for
behind.
then?
To just make sure your microphone's working.
Oh, okay.
It's not-
bad.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, it's like the literal testing, like when you're on Discord and you try to test.
You just
your
Right.
mic,
yeah, you're just
yeah,
testing
it's,
and just
it's
lag. Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But I mean, it's Windows 10 for Christ's sake. It's 2020. There should be zero latency. I mean, this should be Bill. I know you're watching, Mr. Gates. Fix that. Thanks.
Let's see, one of the
2020 bill,
one of the 6 people watching.
Yeah,
Windows 10.
I've been
He
talking to him all day.
He jumps in every now.
He's very
and then.
excited.
He jumps
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
He's got
yeah,
a
yeah, of course.
Go
pseudonym
watch
that
it
he
later,
uses.
probably.
Yeah,
So
he's got it
speaking of-
queued.
You'll watch it later.
All right. Speaking
Yeah.
of things that
Speaking
we
of which,
watched,
so we watched Boogie Nights. So
Do my eyes
welcome
get smaller when I
to-
take my glass off?
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Danny.
Yeah.
So welcome to We Like This Podcast, where we talk about movies and literally everything else, like we just did. I'm Dana Waters. I'm joined by Ben Nickerson, Daryl Waters, and Jeremy Dallas. We are going to be talking about Boogie Nights, which is by Paul Thomas Anderson, in 1997. It's the
Old-ass
role that skyrocketed Marky Mark Wahlberg to acting fame. That was the movie that he was known
that's real.
for. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, because he was in some other movie in 1995 that tanked, and he was afraid to get back into acting for a long time. But then Leonardo DiCaprio actually recommended him instead of himself for the role. And
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Wow.
and look how that turned
And
out.
he's great.
So,
He's great in this.
he's great.
He plays
He's great.
himself
Mhm.
most likely, but he's great at it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
You
not-
think that he is Dirk Diggler?
No, I'm just saying it wasn't a stretch for him to play.
I'll just say,
I'm
that
I'm
last scene
not
at
that
the
smart
end.
Guy.
I
That's
had to
right.
look that
I'm
up.
not that
I had
smart
to look
guy.
up that last
That
scene.
is
at the end.
that is a tough take on on this poor man's personality if he's anything like Dirk Diggler.
He
But
basically
granted,
just
Mark
does
Wahlberg
cocaine
had
and-
some serious issues at the time, so maybe it's not that far off.
Well,
but-
Mar-
I mean, if I like Mark Wahlberg as an actor actually, but he's not a great actor, is what I'm saying. He's not. There's not a lot of depth in any of his roles. You know what I mean?
oh no,
Except
I'm
for
saying
this
that
role.
he's
And
not
that's
a
all
great.
I'm saying.
He's not a great person if he's anything like Dirk Diggler.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
You know,
Dirk
I was
Diggler
actually
just an
surprised.
innocent-
I would like to say I was
Guy with a
surprised
gigantic
watching
cock.
this movie. I'm not a huge fan of Mark Wahlberg. Like that, like you said, like he's not a great actor, because he's typecast. He's typecast as the angry short dude, and
Is he
in like
short?
action, he's kind of short. He's kind of brief.
Pretty close.
But he's like in action
Medium
movies
short.
now,
I
and
hope he's
he's
not
just like
watching
the
'cause
angry
it'll kick
guy.
all of
He's
our
very
asses.
short. Well, Bill Gates will probably talk
Especially now.
to him about this.
Bill Gates
so-
will intervene.
Yeah.
Bill,
Um,
looking at you.
Mark, it's Bill again. You gotta. What did I tell
yeah,
you about
don't
training?
watch this episode. Skip this one.
What? Yeah.
Yeah,
Call
you're not gonna like
Belinda.
it. Yeah. So
I did
I was
that.
I was very
Mhm.
surprised because he's not just like the angry tough dude. Like he's actually
Well,
like
he is at some point. In
I
the
mean
movie,
at one point
later.
in the movie, but for
Yeah.
for a decent amount of the movie, he's just like a scared little kid. He's just like trying
Yeah.
to reach for
Kinda
stardom.
naive.
So it was actually pretty good. I was very surprised by it.
Did we watch the same movie?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get into it, but
Okay, we should.
yeah, we should get into it. So I was actually surprised that this is Paul Thomas Anderson. I didn't really connect the name to his other filmography because I didn't know that he did There Will Be Blood, which is a
Mhm.
very
Will Be
different
Blood's a
movie.
very
than
good
this.
film, yeah.
Very
Excellent
different
film.
movie. And then I was pleasantly surprised by this movie and the turn that it took because it was definitely a comedy in the beginning, and like it was kind of fun to watch, and then it got very dark very fast.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Aren't
expecting.
comedy
it.
supposed to be funny?
I don't know if it's comedy, but
Well, I
it's
mean, not a
definitely
comedy, but there was
lighthearted.
definitely some
Certainly
comedic
lightheart-
parts.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it was
just
it
the
had a lot of
comedic parts,
I
lighthearted.
think that's the whole point of it, right? Is like, hey, doing coke and being in porn and disco is so much fun,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it's
To the
just setting
70s,
you up.
70s backdrop.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I really want to get into this because I feel like I had a very different experience with this movie than you guys did.
So should we
Obviously,
start?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
thought we did.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Well,
I mean the plot. Like, how does
yeah.
this thing start off? What's going on?
First off, they introduce all the characters amazingly. So they have the opening scene, where it's a very long shot, and it's got to be like at least maybe like 2 minutes long, where they're going into a nightclub. They start from the
Yeah.
outside. They introduce the director of the later pornos that's discussed later in the movie. They introduce him and the nightclub owner, and then they move into the nightclub, and then they introduce Don Cheadle, and then the roller skate girl, and like all these other characters. He gets seated, like all this stuff, and it finally wraps around and ends on I can't remember his actual name, but Dirk Diggler,
Eddie something.
Eddie
right?
something, Eddie, yeah, who's Mark
Eddie from
Wahlberg's
Torch.
character.
But
But
this
it
is
does
also
this-
a great. Burt Reynolds was fantastic in this. He had an
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Burt
hair-
Reynolds
he-
was very good in this
Amazing
movie,
hairpiece in this
Yeah.
movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did, he did.
Great
What's funny
hair.
is he hated everything about this movie when he was making it.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he's an old. Is it because of the subject matter?
Partly, yeah.
Because
He,
I
he
feel
didn't want to
like,
do it. He did not want to
he's
do this
kinda-
movie.
from a
Yeah.
from a time
Burt
where you
is
didn't.
so great in it.
Yeah, he's
So
really
great
good
in
in
it,
it.
too.
Like he's
Yeah.
perfect for it. He actually
He's
fired
he's
his
surprisingly good shape in this movie too.
yeah,
Yeah.
he fired his
There's a few
agent.
shirtless scenes, and I'm like, wow, Burt Reynolds
Fired
Mhm.
his agent.
He
after
yeah,
this
Burt
movie.
Reynolds fired his agent
Burt
because
Reynolds
his
is fine.
agent suggested this movie.
Was Burt Reynolds, Jeremy? Was Burt Reynolds a thirst trap for you?
You know,
Did he come up on your Instagram
maybe.
feed?
It was.
Did he come up on your
certainly-
Instagram feed?
Certainly a surprise to me. The few shirtless scenes he has
Yeah.
in this movie, I'm like,
Old thirst traps with
I
hair
mean,
pieces. On
you know.
Instagram?
Thirst Trap
Like,
Hairpiece is
know.
playing at the Mohawk.
maybe some Tom Selleck.
Well, he's
Magnum
always
PI
been-
vibes.
That's a
He
good
definitely had
yeah.
Tom Selleck vibes for sure.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's always been a macho, handsome guy in movies for sure. For a
Yeah.
long time. So
I mean,
that was
that's
his role.
classic Burt Reynolds.
There's, I mean, you guys probably don't know that, but I only know about it because of when I researched this film back when I first watched it. But there's, and you guys may have seen, I don't know, but Burt Reynolds posed naked with puppies in Cosmopolitan back in the late 70s, I think. That was a thing to do.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a weird thing to do.
I didn't see
So-
the one
Or
with
puppies.
puppies, but I did see the
I
one
think
where
it's
he's on like a
puppies.
bearskin rug.
Maybe that's what it is.
Is that
Maybe
what that's
it's
from?
Somebody else with
Is it
puppies,
from
but
Burt
there was a-
Reynolds?
whatever the hot guy was at the 70s at the time, they posed, I believe he was naked in Cosmo. You wouldn't see their junk
Yeah.
or anything, but
Hmm.
but I'm
That's-
pretty sure it was with puppies.
Well, it might have been with puppies too. I remember
Yeah.
seeing one that I think was on like a bearskin rug or something like
Yeah.
that.
when you
Yeah.
did your thirst trap.
I don't
Burt
know
Reynolds.
anything about
Yeah, thirst
about
trap
the,
hairpiece.
the nude escapades of Burt Reynolds.
Oh.
Well, it was the 70s, bro.
That sounds like a
Yeah.
Hallmark movie. So anyways, but they have this scene that introduces all these characters, and honestly, like I was watching the scene and I was like, oh my god, this is like one of the best character introductions I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a bearskin
Like,
rug.
it's incredible. Okay, we got confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, I actually
hi Gina. Hi Gina.
You sound like a
Got
hard
confirmation.
Hallmark movie, by the way. Yeah, I honestly, I agree with you that like the introduction was really good. But I also was like, man, there's a lot of characters in this movie.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
they're gonna,
A lot of
I
people to keep
like, I
track of.
immediately
Lot
was
of
names.
like,
Mhm.
I immediately was like, man, this is gonna be like,
A doozy.
almost like
Yes.
freaking what was the movie series that they started doing a couple times? Ashton Kutcher was in a couple of them. I think one of them was Valentine's Day.
Oh, the holiday movies where there'd be like Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve. And
Where they're just like, let's just get an ensemble cast
they
of
jam,
like
like,
20
a huge
people and just
ensemble.
like fucking put them all in this intermingled plot. It had
Yeah.
those vibes for me in the very beginning, which
I thought you meant the butterfly effect.
yeah, I was talking about the butterfly effect actually. I thought it was gonna be a horror movie. No, so
yeah,
So
Butterfly
I was,
Effect is a love
Same
movie, right?
movie.
Yeah.
it's actually kind of funny because I guess there should be some level of respect for it, but to me that's like a gimmick now that people do. So at the moment I was like, it's gonna be tough for them to pull this together, and so I immediately started off on like okay, like we got all these characters, like how are they going to do this? That was my immediate reaction, was like, how are they going to be successful with this? Because it's hard. It's difficult to make a movie with fucking 10 main characters.
Yeah. And everyone's got backside stories going on or whatever.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. And
Yeah.
they go out of their way almost immediately to start showing some of this stuff.
You do not want to
Yeah.
hear my backside story. I'll tell you but yeah, so we have the scene that introduces,
Airy.
that shows you all the characters and kind of introduces little things about them. Thank you.
Like
But
Don Cheadle being a cowboy.
yeah, and he's like, "Look, I'm a cowboy," because he's trying to find his look the entire movie.
And
Yeah.
I love that it's very clear that the nightclub owner, I forget his name, is super nonplussed about it. That was one of my favorite moments
Yeah.
in the intro. Is just him being like, "Oh, Eric, yeah, cowboy. How do you like it? Oh, it's good, man. You like it? You feel good? I feel great. Yeah, it's good."
Don Cheadle's great in this movie. Everyone's good.
Yeah,
Don
he is.
Cheadle
He's really good
is
in this
I
movie.
actually
gotta say,
Don Cheadle is my favorite character in this movie. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do want to
He's
say
the most likable.
He's great in it.
I liked all the supporting cast way better than the main cast in this
Oh,
in
easily.
this movie. The
Easily.
supporting cast was incredible. John C. Reilly and Philip Seymour Hoffman are the best dopes,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
dope sidekicks. They are
Yeah.
fantastic. So good in this
Mhm.
movie.
I like my man Thomas Jane, the Punisher. I didn't expect to
Wait,
see.
who's he?
Yeah.
Was
He's
he
in
the-
this movie.
Was he the guy that?
gets introduced like maybe not even halfway through? Like, a
Oh,
little bit less
he's the guy with the mustache, right? Who
Yeah,
gets
when
him
they
into
go
the
to
Oh,
the
house
he's
at the
the
end.
male stripper.
Oh,
With the
okay.
fireworks.
Yeah.
and-
Wow, I
Yeah.
thought he looked
well,
familiar. I
Before
couldn't- I
before we
couldn't
jump
tell.
too
they
far
introduced before
ahead, I
that, yeah,
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the intro of the movie is like, how do we get Eddie to be a porn star as fast as possible? Is kind of what it felt like the immediate plot drive was, right? Like that's the hook of the movie.
kind of.
Probably
he's
at
like,
the beginning.
Well, it's what,
for
it's what
sure.
the movie's
Beginning, yeah.
about. So let's get it going,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean it literally just like, it's like, okay, you're a 17-year-old kid washing dishes. Burt Reynolds comes into the back. You think he wants you to masturbate, but in reality, he's propositioning you to be a porn star.
5 to look, 10 to watch, to masturbate.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are not my prices, by the way. Mine are much higher.
Oh, yeah, much. Well, this
I
was
don't need to know
this was
this.
the 70s.
I,
Time to
I-
look
you know, as
15.
your son, I really don't need to know this. But
I
thank
meant
you.
not dollars, cents, though.
Oh.
Oh, okay. 5 cents and 10 cents.
Yes.
It'll
All
be
right.
100 cents.
5 and 10 cents.
Ooh, that's pretty.
So,
good.
you know,
Well, so this is, yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, I guess, because it's implied that Eddie wants to be a star. From the beginning, he like tells Cheryl Lynn, the other mom. Is she like a mom or something? Was she like a MILF, or was she just like his girlfriend? Like, what was happening?
Are you
with
talking
that?
about Julianne Moore as Amber?
No, not Amber. I'm talking about the girl that he's banging before he becomes a porn
Oh
star.
No,
no,
that's
that
just
was
some
his actual
neighborhood-
girlfriend.
that's just the town pump.
Yeah. Well, she is older than him, I think.
She seems older than him.
I think she's
I
older
think
than
she
him,
just
but I
looks
don't
old.
know if it's quite not the same as Julianne Moore situation.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but I actually imagine that she was like the town like MILF or something. She seemed significantly older than him. She seemed like
Did
she was
she?
in her 30s.
Oh,
I mean,
I don't know
also
about that.
acting.
Because he's supposed to be 17 and she seems like she's like mid to late 20s or something like that.
Mhm.
You know?
Acting.
And,
It's
I
kind
mean,
of hard to tell.
It feels like they're intentionally making it seem that way too, because he's like jumping up and down on the bed like a little kid.
I think
Yeah,
they're doing it
that's
to
what I'm
show that
saying.
he's like I said, he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Yeah, I mean,
well, let's get back on the
but
plot.
also Burt Reynolds says to him, you're living in Torrance and you're working in Reseda, because it's obvious he's there to. He tries to pretend like he doesn't know who Burt Reynolds is, but he's obviously working at this club because he knows who Burt Reynolds is and he wants to become a porn star.
Mhm.
hmm,
You know?
Yeah.
I didn't
think
get that.
that's where
impression.
the-
that
that's
does
all
make
very
sense.
where
that's
the
what's
biz
going on.
is.
Because he even asked him like, "Why are you doing?" And then he's like, "Oh, okay," kind of like, "Okay, well, you're clearly here to see me, so let's just cut the shit." You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Man,
And
what a
he sends in
freaking
Roller Girl to blow him, and
the next time around, yeah, they go.
she pulls up. They pull up there. Hey, remember me from a couple hours ago?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And in
remember
the
you.
beginning, he's just like, "Yeah, I remember you."
I don't know your name, but face rings a bell.
Yeah.
It's. Can we talk about Roller Girl for a second? Like,
Yeah.
first of all,
Sure,
the way that
sure.
they introduce her, she goes,
Free spirit.
she like rolls
Yeah.
up to Burt Reynolds' table with Julianne Moore there too, and then Julianne Moore's like, "You got to see the lady before the weekend. You know, she's not gonna see you on the weekend." And then she's like hopping up and down, holding her freaking cooch, and Julianne Moore's like, "What's wrong with your vagina?" And she's like, "I have to pee."
What's going on down there is what she says.
What's
Yeah.
going on down there? But like, come on, it was such a strange.
That was a very strange bit of
Wrong
dialogue.
with your vagina.
It
No,
was
what it was
it was
a
just
way
as
for her
odd.
to skate away, right? It was. I thought it was really brilliant. It was a way for her to skate away to introduce more characters.
Well, yeah, but it's a strange bit of dialogue that they
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
you
she
know,
could have just
it's-
been like, "I'm gonna go serve more people" or something like that. You know, so
Or she could have just been like, "I gotta go pee." You know, like the.
I don't. I think we're analyzing it way too hard. It was just a.
I actually don't even remember this little tidbit of
I mean,
dialogue.
That's
we're
because it's not
analyzing it
that.
because it stood out to me as a fucking really bizarre thing to happen in the first minute and a
Oh.
half. Of
I
the
do agree
movie.
with Ben. I do agree with Ben. Like
Oh.
it's a little weird, but like I forgot about it.
I had to
until
pee
just
in the
now.
first minute and a half of the film, so I just seemed normal.
Well, you're old, so you
You're
always
just
Yeah.
like, oh man, fucking twinsies, and you like.
Yeah.
Like, I
get off
went
and
put my
Maybe I
yeah.
didn't see
followed
it because I
you.
was peeing. I
Have
actually
you ever tried to skate? Have you ever tried?
Did you
skating
watch
on
this
carpet?
entire
It's not
movie
easy.
on Netflix on your
I did.
phone on the toilet?
I had to
But-
skate back to the bathroom on carpet.
But
It was
actually,
not easy.
like immediately after the first nightclub scene, where Eddie has that introduction to Jack, Burt Reynolds' character, we get into some of the side stories. We get a couple of things. First,
Nightmare Before
if that is his
Christmas.
name.
Jack.
Nightmare
Sorry,
Before
go ahead.
Christmas.
Well, we actually see a little bit more of Roller Girl's plot.
We see a
Where
lot of her
she's
plot.
in
We
high
see a
school.
lot of all of her plot.
Whole lot.
Ah.
We see she's in high school, and that guy looks back at her and is like,
Your
you know,
subplot.
doing the blowjob face to her, and it like makes her
Oh,
upset
yeah.
enough. And this blew my
cracked
fucking mind.
myself
I
open.
realize that it's a gimmick for her character for the entire movie, but it fucking blew my mind when she's taking a test, like in a fucking math class or something. That dude's bullying her by like acting like she's gonna blow him, and then she gets upset. She stands up from her desk, and then she skates out of the fucking high school, revealing that she's been wearing roller skates. This
She never
whole
takes them off.
fucking
He really
time.
never takes them off.
She's like
They
the
never-
Mandalorian, but with skates.
Mhm.
It is the
Skates
way.
are part of my religion.
Yeah.
So-
it's the way.
It,
The
it was like
Mandalorian's
such a sad,
head
but
stinks
also
and her
what the
feet stink.
fuck moment
Mhm.
for this girl.
Well, we do. I got to assume that she's 18, even though she's in high school, because they're taking
Yes.
finals too. I think they don't
Yes.
come right out and say it, but they're like, the teacher says, you know, you're taking your final, blah blah blah. I think that's what we're trying to say here.
And at the end of the
is that
movie,
she's
she
18.
takes her GED.
Yeah,
Um,
she
does take her
she
GED.
goes back and takes her GED. So it's, I
but-
think it's
Forget.
implied that she's a senior at least.
I actually
Yeah.
thought it was really weird that they went out of their way to say that Eddie was 17. I was like, why
Yeah.
make him 17?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I mean, I guess maybe that's the ripe young age, or maybe it was the age of consent in like where in Los Angeles at the time or something. But it was just like a weird like
I don't
Yeah,
think
so then it's just
I
weird.
thought
It's almost
that
like
was on purpose to give it the whole thing a level of like just an underlining sleaziness to it.
There is a
that
lot
I
of
think
that
to
in
show
this
that
movie.
he is truly a naive young dude.
Exactly, and that
No idea what he's getting
he
into.
tells that Burt Reynolds guy immediately, within the first time he meets him, that he's 17, and then that guy, sends this girl in and invites him to get, you know what I'm saying? So I think by making him 17, at least maybe this is just me, it gave the whole proposition and just an underlining kind of like sleaziness to it.
and this
Didn't really
this
care
is
at all that he's 17.
actually what I wanted to touch on is that there are a lot of elements of bad shit. I can't tell you, like, you guys said that it was like a more lighthearted beginning, but I can't tell you how much the entire beginning felt like bad shit is going to happen.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like
That's
I
yeah,
over
it's
I
what-
got
that's a
this
lot of
feeling
foreshadowing.
overwhelmingly
Yeah.
from the movie for the whole first act. I was like, this, like, bad shit is going to happen. Like there's things that
Yeah.
are happening like in the background that are just going to impact people pretty severely, it feels
Well,
like.
Yeah.
I think your first one is when that chick overdoses on cocaine at that party.
Oh
Well, I
my
would say the
God.
first
Yes.
one
Yeah.
was the sleaziness of him being 17 and the way that
Sure,
they recruit him.
sure,
But yeah,
but-
yeah, and then the
Well,
more overt
all that happens around.
We're
some-
jumping ahead.
also-
There's a very
Okay.
important scene that happens actually at his house. So when they introduce both of Eddie's parents, they're not great people. So his mom is very abusive. She really doesn't seem to care about him all that much, except for like, basic life path, like you need to go to college, that kind of thing, and just
She's a
kind of
very
just like
traditionalist.
treats him like shit
Yeah.
though. Like talks down to him and
Treats
it's like,
the
why are
dad
you
the
staying
same way.
out? Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah, that
treats
poor dad, dude.
and treats her husband the same way.
Kisses
And
her.
yeah.
He kisses her and she's like, "Don't fucking do that if you're not gonna shave."
Oh, that made me
Yeah.
so mad.
That made me so
Made me
mad.
so mad when I
Yeah.
watched
Yeah,
that.
just
But
hurt my
the
heart,
guy
you know?
is like
Yeah.
so broken down. He just goes and sits down at the table and has breakfast, and he doesn't know how to talk to his son. Doesn't know how to stick up for his son. There's a scene not too much later where Eddie decides to really go into the porn business and actually do his first film, and he's accosted by his mother in his room, and she like basically berates him, and then
Tells him he's stupid several times.
yeah
Mhm.
like
You're
yeah
stupid,
And then he
you're
barely
stupid.
passed.
Yeah, and
He
he's
barely
like, "Why
got
are
out of
you-
high school,
oh, man.
and
yeah.
Why are
it's-
you being
it's not
so
good.
mean to me?" That actually,
Yeah.
that line really killed
That-
me. Why are
that-
you being
'cause
so mean? Stop
again,
being
he's
so
just a
mean
Just
kid.
stop being mean to me.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a kid. That's all he can articulate is to stop being mean to me. And then it gets to the point where he has to physically move her out of the way so he can leave and get out of that situation. I mean, he
Mhm.
doesn't do it in the best way. He does throw her up against the wall, and pin her to the wall and get in her face. But they also cut to this very important scene where the dad is just sitting on his bed, just like kind of looking at the floor, listening to all this happen.
her. Yeah.
He's not in bed. He's actually sat up in bed,
yeah,
not laying
While
down.
they're
He's sat
screaming
up
their
and he's
lungs out at
listening to
each
this
other.
going on, and he's not intervening because he just can't. That's
shell.
not how. Yeah, he's a shell
Yeah.
of a man.
He's
So
a
I
shell
mean,
of a man.
yeah, there's a very important scene where we have that, which also ties back into a lot of what we see in Burt Reynolds' character as the porn director, where he is the father figure to Eddie, and this
Yeah.
comes into play a lot in the movie because it's just like it's all. It's all
Oh
over the
yeah,
place.
I mean Amber. I mean, it's weird because it's like Amber has a similar relationship to Roller Girl, which actually comes out in a much more obvious way
Mhm.
later on. But I guess the next scene after that it's really funny. It hard cuts from him getting into this argument with his mom to him going to Burt Reynolds' house for a party,
Mhm.
and he's like, he had just been at their house the night previously because he had to have sex with Roller Girl in front of Burt Reynolds to make sure that like
It's like a
that he
tryout.
could, like, yeah, it was
basically.
like a weird trial
Yeah.
run. It was like casting couch. It was literal casting couch. And he shows up to Burt Reynolds' house for his party. That's where we meet a lot of the rest of the ensemble cast. And he's wearing the same outfit as he did the night before, which I thought was
How was that?
hilarious. He
I
was
do that all
wearing
the time.
he was wearing the blue shirt with the red stripe on it and the denim fucking Canadian tuxedo.
Oh.
Is that what that
I
was?
didn't even
And at
notice
this
that.
point too, we've already been introduced to William H Macy's character.
Oh
I was going to bring him up.
Oh yeah,
Oh
love
my
him.
because
God.
that's another
His wife is
character.
fucking banging everybody.
Yeah, that's another
In front of
character who
him.
the first time that you see him, you know this guy's going to snap in the movie.
Yeah.
The very
Yeah.
first
That's
time
gonna
you see him
happen.
with that his dynamic with his wife, it's like, okay, this guy's going to snap.
Well,
again,
the
he's
first time
playing
we
it for
see
laughs.
him, he
Fantastic.
walks up. He talks to Jack the first time, and it's clear
Yeah.
that he works in the business with Jack.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking about the scene where he walks in on his wife. He gets home from the club. He walks in on his wife banging some other person, and she's just like, "Get out! What are you doing?"
Also,
And
the
the
guy
kid,
that's
too.
screwing her is like 20, and he's like, "Dude, come on, I'm banging your wife. Get out of here."
It's
Like-
funny when he goes to the date, he's like, "That's my fucking wife," and the guy's like, "Sorry,"
Yeah.
and she's like, "Close the door."
See,
Yeah.
that's what
Oh,
that's
man.
it. This still in this point of the movie, they're still playing everything for laughs. Like there's some heavy shit going on here, but they're still playing it all for laughs. Like I laughed.
Yeah, they're
I
still
laughed
keeping
at
it,
that
like I
part.
said,
Like, it's-
lighthearted
Yeah, it's
to
not.
set you
It's
up.
not
It's
fun.
like, it's a fantastic
but
setup.
they-
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I've
Even
seen
though
William
you know
H.
stuff is
Macy.
wrong,
Yeah.
it's still they're still playing it lighthearted.
But he's
I've
got a
seen William H.
fantastic
Macy in a
mullet.
ton of different movies
in this movie.
lately, and he does Crazy Dude super well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He does it very well. I recently watched Fargo as well.
The
I was
movie?
just watching it the other day. He's fucking great in Fargo.
He's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good in Fargo. Yeah.
So good
Yeah.
in Fargo.
But yeah, so there's that, and there's also Don Cheadle's side plot, which is where he works. He works
yeah.
at a stereo store, and there's like a young like yuppie that's thinking about buying a stereo, and Don Cheadle's trying to sell it to him. He's almost got him. He's got him on the hook,
Mhm.
and then he's like, "Check this out, man. Listen to this." And he plugs in an 8-track, and he starts blasting this bluegrass. And the
Country.
guy's like, "Well, thanks, man. I'm gonna leave." And he gets chewed out for his boss. But that was really interesting. That his boss was like racist towards him. Like they threw that in too. And then Don Cheadle's like, "Come on, man, don't be." And like he
Mhm.
gets lambasted for it. It's like it was really interesting. A really interesting way to set
Yeah.
the tone. Of
Yeah, his
the,
his
of the
boss,
time period.
which is like a white dude, calls him a brother. Like
He's like-
says like,
well,
"Why
he
are we
says
gonna
something
play
like,
like
"What
some of your
kind of
music?"
brother are you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
why
what
are you
he
dressing like a
says.
cowboy? What kind of brother
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
And then Don Cheadle very clearly is like, "Did you just fucking say that to me?" And he tries to
Mhm.
like defend himself, and then he's like, "Well, I need this job." I thought that was a really well handled I don't know, fucking political moment, I guess. I was like, damn, that's like
Hmm.
it sets the tone for the scene. It makes me feel like it's the 70s. And it's not handled disrespectfully. I was like, wow, damn, that's great.
Also, I want to call attention to this really quick. This entire movie was not shot like a movie that was shot in 1997. They used film stock that was very popular during the 80s, so it had
Oh.
a very old feel to it. Also, the way that they were
Yeah, it did.
acting. At first, when you're introduced to Julianne Moore's character, I was like, this is not the Julianne Moore that I know, because they were acting like bad actors in the 80s. Same thing with Mark Wahlberg. Like in the beginning of the movie, like think about it. In the first half of the movie, the acting is not stellar. It's very like cut and dry 80s movie. Was I the only one that
I
felt
don't
this
know.
way?
I
I absolutely like the same kind
know.
of like tonation to the voice, the same cadence
I think
to
when
the
they were
voice.
in the porn, they were acting like that. But when they're out of the porn, I think they were acting how they should be acting.
Yeah, there are
I thought
several
like for
scenes
the
where they're doing porn,
for-
and I was like, man, they're nailing being bad at acting.
Well,
well-
yeah, when they were in the porn, there was bad acting because that's
Yeah.
what they were doing. But
Well,
outside
maybe
of it, it felt
Dan and-
very natural and
Yeah,
Very-
it could
very
just be
actory.
that they are when they're playing characters who are supposed to live in the 70s. So I noticed that with Mark Wahlberg, especially like some of the things that they say and the way that they say them are played maybe closer to I wasn't alive in the 70s, but maybe played closer to the way that a regular person would have just been talking in the 70s.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
They use the same tonation and the same like vocal style, cadence, and all
what's
that
wrong
kind
with
of
being
stuff.
alive in the 70s.
If you told me that this was an 80s movie and
Yeah.
I didn't like, if you told me this was an 80s movie and I didn't know any of the ensemble cast, like they were just a bunch of nobodies, I would 100% believe you. I'd be like, oh yeah,
That's
this is totally
that's
like
what I'm
this
trying
has
to
got
say.
80s movies vibes. Yeah,
That's what I'm
I
trying to say.
I could
It's the same acting style. I mean, you could watch Aliens and they all act the same way, where it's kind of like they deliver their lines the same way. Like I don't know. It's something that I've picked up on since like watching so many movies, growing up, and a lot of those being 80s movies, where I'm watching this movie and I had to remind myself this was actually made in 1997 with a really good cast.
It doesn't feel
So-
like The Matrix was going to come out 2 years after this movie. I'll tell you that much.
Or Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was
shit.
1999. That's when
Was
they
it
started
really?
filming. That's when they started filming. So
Wow.
mhm.
And that
But
took place
Think
in
about
Middle Earth.
the other movies that came out this year in 97, right? Like,
that wasn't even the same era, Lord of the Rings.
you
That was the Third Age.
know,
Jesus.
I
What a
guess so. I never
nerd.
really thought about it that way, but yeah, you might be onto something. I don't know. But again, I just think it's kind of like they're trying to act the way that people would have, not necessarily like how actors would have acted in the 70s, but how regular people might have been talking or
Yeah.
acting in the 70s, you know?
Like,
Maybe because of that, it comes across.
I hope you guys notice it. If you're ever watching an 80s movie again, notice their cadence, the way that they act. It's very, very similar across a lot of 80s
There
movies.
are weird tropes of 80s movies that don't exist in movies today.
Yeah,
That's for
it's like
sure.
when people when they first started making movies and everybody sounded like they were doing a play. It's because of what they were.
That's what they were
Mhm.
doing.
You know,
But I
shit
know.
from the 50s and 60s, the 60s even, it sounded like everybody was doing a play and they
Yeah.
talked that way because that's what they were doing was just shooting a play.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
me reiterate. I'm not saying that the acting was bad, like bad 80s acting. It was just
Yeah.
the same style as 80s movies. You know. So they didn't go
Tonally,
as
it
far
felt
back
like
as
an
70s
80s
because
movie.
70s does feel incredibly different than the 80s movies. But they definitely went for an older style, which was like kind of disconcerting watching a movie that was made in 1997. But I thought it was great. I really liked it. I liked that they went for the same style as the older movies to kind of portray the story. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
it.
so they have this whole party scene, and I mean, so much happens in that party scene. It's crazy, and they're there from freaking midday till dusk. But
Dusk is pretty late, man. That's like 6 o'clock.
I know, man, they're there from freaking like
That's 2 hours away from my bedtime normally.
so much, and like
It's like 2 hours past your
I
bedtime.
do the scene where the girl has the an overdose. We get introduced to the financier of the porn operation. His name's the Colonel.
Right.
And he brings this bimbo with him, I guess. She's like literally that's the role they've assigned to this girl.
Not
And she
very
and like
attractive
not 5
for a
minutes
bimbo.
later, she is overdosing in a bedroom with like another stud. And he like
Judd.
he's like she's bleeding out of her nose. And he's like, this second girl that's overdosed on me.
Yeah.
Sweet,
Yeah.
man."
Well, this is like one of the best lines of the movie is like he says that and then the colonel's like, you need to get better shit, man. And he's like, yes, sir.
He doesn't say
It's not
don't
like,
do coke. He doesn't say,
Yeah.
well, maybe you shouldn't do so much coke. And he's just like, get some better coke then.
yeah, it's like, what are you
What's
doing?
funny is
Maybe you
how-
need to get
Yeah.
better shit.
calm those guys are about this situation. He comes
Well,
like,
then-
Yes,
"Ah,
they've seen it
fuck,"
how
know,
many times at this
so
point.
many
Again,
times. And
The
Jack's,
first
like, out
half
the
of this
back.
movie, yeah,
Yeah.
the first half of this movie is kind of played for laughs and it's a little bit lighthearted, dealing with very heavy shit because she starts seizing on the ground.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we need to get her out of here fast. She's got to
He's
make
like,
a
"Oh,
scene.
freak."
Freaking out.
Make sure you
man.
go out the
Yeah.
back door, guys. Like, it's like unbelievable. Where it's like, I was
Look, this has
laughing, but I was
happened
just like,
enough times
"Ew, this is
to all
so
of them. That
strange.
this is just how you handle it. You know, you
Mhm.
pay your goon to drop her off at St. Mary's.
Yeah.
So weird. But then we're also introduced to John C. Riley, who's fantastic. I love how they introduce him.
Right.
So Eddie
that-
walks up to
yeah.
him to get a drink, and because John C. Riley's character, what's his name, Reed? Yeah, Reed is
Yeah,
at
Reed.
the bar. He's manning the bar.
Reed.
It's one of his characters.
Rothschild. Reed Rothschild.
Reed Rothschild is manning the bar, and so they're talking about like working out. He's like, yeah, so you work out? And he's like, so how much you squat?
So douchey.
You
I
know,
love
and
it.
just like
Yeah.
this back and forth between them, and then you very very quickly catch on to the fact that John C. Riley is just trying to like one up
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg
Well,
the
what
entire time.
we do as dudes.
Yeah.
We first
I mean,
meet
I don't do
And
that.
Mark Wahlberg
I
knows right
definitely don't do
away.
that.
He's like, no, you say it first. Because
Oh,
whatever
I
I'm going to
love
say,
that,
you're just
dude.
going
That
to say
was so
more.
good.
And then he just
Yeah.
changes the
But you don't
subject. He
say
doesn't
anything.
answer him.
Yeah.
And then when he tries to, I mean, we really learned this when he tries to do a freaking front flip or a gainer or whatever into the pool. And
Yeah,
he
he's
totally
like, you're doing
fucks
it all
up.
wrong.
And
you
yeah,
guys
you're
notice
not
that-
wrong. Let me do it.
John
Let me
C.
show you what you
Riley
did wrong.
is invoked like little tidbits of this character for Step Brothers. Do you guys feel like that?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Because there's a
Yes,
few
absolutely.
things like the whole like, no, you do it first. No, you do it first, and we say it at the same time. Like that's a scene right out of Step Brothers where
Is
that
it really?
happens. Yeah, where
Never
they
seen
say what they like at the same time, and then when he's like, let me show you how to really do it. Like when he's coming off douchey like that. That's like him talking to Will Ferrell at the beginning of Step Brothers. I don't know if it was on purpose or on accident, but there was a couple
mean,
scenes where I was like, oh dang, I feel like you
Probably because
referenced
the same. Like,
this
At
movie.
At this point in his career, I think John C. Riley has really like narrowed in on
Yes.
that particular character.
Yeah.
He plays that a lot, even in that very short role that he has in Guardians of the Galaxy, like that little cameo that he has the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? He's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
guard. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's That's John C. Riley right there.
Mhm.
So
I mean, that's somebody that doesn't know how to not act like themselves, or maybe he does, and he just like it's
No,
like,
he
well, that doesn't
does.
make money.
I would say like he does a really good job as not acting like John C. Riley in the last half of this movie. And we'll get to that.
Yeah, maybe. So that whole party happens. Is anything else important? I guess the only other thing is that Maggie misses a call from her estranged son. She's clearly had a divorce. Maggie is
We-
Amber.
And
We
nobody
meet-
knows who the fuck she is.
We
Yeah,
meet
because
Philip
she goes by Amber
Seymour
Waves.
Hoffman in that
Yeah.
party as well.
Oh, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, who like
It's good.
clearly
That's the
fucking
first
crazy.
reason
I
he's great in
fucking
this.
love.
Yeah.
It's great in this.
I love Seymour Hoffman, and his character in this movie was fantastic. Just some like, dude wearing what are they called? Undershirts the entire time. I don't know. He's
Why
the
did you-
sound guy for the porn movies, and
Yeah.
these
he's
weirdly
clearly
colored
he's
like wife
clearly
beaters.
got like a desire to be more important than he
Yeah.
is for the movies. Like
Dude wants to
it's-
fit in. He copies other people like verbatim. So
He's
it's pretty
super
interesting.
awkward.
Mhm.
Clearly, there's like socially stunted person
Is
at
in love
minimum.
with Mark Wahlberg's character.
And it's obvious
Yeah.
from the
Very-
very beginning. He's like,
Mhm.
wow.
Like starstruck almost. Yeah.
Wears really, really tight shirts,
Mhm.
which is great.
Mhm.
Which is great on his large guy. I guess Philip Seymour Hoffman has had that gut since the beginning of Philip Seymour
He was
Hoffman
born
because
with a
he
gut.
looks exactly the
Pulled him out
same.
gut first, actually.
Born with a gut, died with a gut.
Yeah, born with a gut, died with a
Ugh,
gut.
too soon. Still like the guy.
Not
Too
really.
soon.
No, I mean that was like 5 years
A while
ago.
ago.
Been a-
Hands.
been a lot of yeah.
Too-
been enough years. Been enough hands.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. Yeah, I mean, we learned that Amber Waves' his real name is Maggie, and she's been estranged from her child because she's a porn
it's great.
actress, basically.
Is when that actor's name I can't remember now. Luis Guzman's running around. Anyone is there Maggie? Anyone know a Maggie
yeah.
here? And nobody
Oh,
knows that's her
yeah.
real name.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nobody.
yeah.
No
Right.
place.
Louise
forgot about
Guzman,
that.
I forgot. Yeah, that's the.
He's great.
guy's
He's
great.
great. He's another
great
good
in
actor.
everything.
He's great in everything.
Great
he
in
does.
everything.
Oh, he was awesome in this movie.
But he plays the same
Yeah.
character in everything.
He plays
is
Luis
perfect.
Guzman. He's amazing at it.
Yeah.
Even when he,
He is
plays
very good at
Zatara.
it.
Mhm.
When he plays Zatara in
Is it
what am I talking about?
Three Amigos?
No, he's not.
Talking about Can of Monte
Oh,
Cristo?
shit, what am I
Can of
talking
Monte
about?
Cristo. Thank you.
Oh.
Great
Love
movie.
that movie.
Great
He's
movie.
good in that. Yeah.
Anyways, so can't find her. Run around the party. She's doing coke. Amber Waves is doing coke.
Right. She
That's
can't
when we
talk to
find out she's a
her.
mom.
She can't talk to
Yeah.
her son. Well, we find out the scene previous to that where she's like trying to talk to her son at fucking 3 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And the dad's like, no, you're not going to talk to our like 4-year-old boy or however old their son is at
Oh
3
yeah.
a.m. when you're trashed. Like clearly this is
Yeah.
wrong. But yeah, so after the party, basically, Burt Reynolds gets in the hot tub and he's like, all right, so you want to be in porn now? And also, he also comes up with his name at this point. He's like,
Fucking great.
Eddie decides that his name is going to be Dirk Diggler.
You just see these name and lights.
Such
Yeah.
a dumb
So
name.
bright.
I love that that graphic that they do, or that shot that they do of the actual neon sign lighting, because Eddie describes his name. He's like, it's so sharp that it just cuts and just
Yeah.
like destroys
Cuts
everything you
glass.
put it on.
I wanted to
So
cut
it's just
glass.
I wanted to cut glass, and I imagine it, up in neon lights, and then just the lights are getting brighter, and then they just explode, and then they show that. I thought that was really
Yeah, it's
cool.
cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It was a
A
cute
really
moment.
quick insert that they never do
Yeah.
anywhere else in the movie. So also the cinematography in this movie is fantastic. Love the
Yeah.
cinematography.
It's a beautifully shot film. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's one hell of a cool hot tub. It's like a giant
Barrel.
wooden barrel.
It's like a half
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking 70s, man. We had some weird shit, I'm telling you. We had
God.
some weird shit. A lot of rattan, a lot of wicker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Lo-
Like
lots
maroon,
of-
man.
Lots of
Some
stone
maroon.
everywhere.
Like lots of maroon.
Lots
of
of
fake looking
stone.
rocks. Oh my
Mhm.
god,
Mhm.
that went all in the
Fake
all in
stuff.
Around
the
the,
80s.
the, yeah, the
Yeah.
A lot of
fireplace.
fake looking rocks, man.
Fake stuff.
Mhm.
Fake trees.
A lot of gold, like these mirrors that
Ugh.
had the gold flake on them. It was painful. It's even back then.
Gaudy is
Gaudy.
a lot of
Gaudy's a
gaudy.
great way to
Yeah,
put
it's
it.
gaudy.
Yeah. Well, then the next scene is literally them shooting the first porn of the movie.
Mhm.
Dirk Diggler comes down, and like we learn that there's like I love the pacing. Like Little Bill,
Who's
William
this?
H. Macy
Dirk
has-
Diggler.
yeah.
Oh
William
yeah.
H. Macy has written like out the plot, and the plot is
Yeah.
literally like, okay, so yeah, he meets he meets her, they have sex, And then she goes to the bathroom and she starts jacking off, and then the other girl finds her, and then they have sex. And then she leaves the bathroom and she meets Dirk Diggler, and then they have sex. And then Burt Reynolds is like, no, I want the other girl to have sex with Dirk. And then he's like, oh yeah, sure, we can write that in.
Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally change it.
But I love how everybody reacts. Like Dirk Diggler is a dumb name, but everybody's like, "Who's Dirk Diggler?" And they're like, "Oh, it's Eddie's. It's a stage name." Like, it's a good name.
Everybody loves his name.
Yeah, they
Everybody.
love his name.
It's so good.
It's a
Dirk
great name.
Diggler. It's a
Yeah.
good name.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I love
So
how
stupid.
like he's so happy too when freaking
Yeah.
when not John C. Reilly, when Philip Seymour Hoffman is like, Dirk Diggler, that's a new name. It's really good. And he's like, you think so?
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah.
So
Also,
innocently happy about his new porn name.
yeah, we learned a very interesting fact about Eddie / Dirk Diggler is when they start the scene, and I thought that this is kind of funny too. Is when he's basically very well endowed when he takes his pants off. Like
Got a huge
Well,
wiener.
yeah.
everybody, thank you, Ben. Everybody on the set just kind of like pauses and like has to look around their equipment, just like
Everybody cranes
and it
their
goes back.
neck.
Yeah,
And it's like, wow, big
Yeah.
wiener.
He shows it at the party. He shows it to the colonel. The colonel's like, "That's a very big cock, Eddie." What the hell he says, you know?
yeah.
So creepy, dude. Talk about that guy would take pictures of people in line, man.
Yeah. Gotta start learning to call him out, Ben.
That's one of those guys. Yeah.
Mhm.
That guy would
Probably-
definitely do it.
Probably
Mhm.
wouldn't fart though.
Probably wouldn't.
Probably
follow.
wouldn't
He wouldn't
skip
cross
that
that
line.
line.
He's
No.
too
Yeah, he wouldn't cross that
sophisticated
line.
for
It's
that.
too much.
He's a
That's
different
just
kind of
too
creep.
far.
Yeah.
He's
Uh,
sophisticated.
But yeah, so and we did miss one thing about the party is that William H. Macy sees his wife having sex in front of a huge
In the
crowd.
driveway.
Oh yeah, on a towel.
Yeah.
Like
It's
yeah, on the
gross.
gravel.
Yeah.
Like in the driveway, there's a huge crowd. Then he like tries to leave, and the freaking lighting guy is like, "Hey man, we need more lights." And he's like, "Can you not talk to me about lights?"
I love they're talking about you. He just wants to talk.
And
Yeah.
the freaking his wife is still in frame, getting banged in the background, and he's just
Well,
like,
you know, they got work to do.
Jesus.
Porn's ain't
And
gonna make
I love
himself.
it.
Get a
That
shit
guy,
tomorrow.
it's like, oh yeah, man. No, I'm sorry, yeah, of course, but like, about those lights, man. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, you don't want it? You got somewhere to go? They got somewhere to be?
And then after like they finish their conversation, and then the lighting guy just is like, and then walks over to go join the
Yeah.
crowd.
What's there to watch?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
unbelievable.
Yeah, they're definitely a very clear indication of what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we get our slow rise to success first, right? Like, I mean, I think
Mhm.
the next several scenes in the movie are literally just almost a montage of Dirk Diggler becoming famous. He
Yeah.
like goes to the second Adult Films Awards, and it's all crappy, and he gets like every award.
He cleans house.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
cleans house. They make more movies. He has an idea about doing more plot-driven porn. That's really successful. Then they're in the
Mhm.
fifth porn awards, and it's like much nicer. Significantly more money is flown into porn, apparently. He gets more awards, and he doesn't. I love his first speech where he's like, "We could do better. All of us could be doing better. We could make better porn. Like, let's do it. Let's make better porn. Let's keep rocking and rolling." He just,
Yeah, rocking and rolling. I
Mhm.
promise to keep rocking and rolling.
and then his second speech is, "Thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, this
yeah, we
does
have,
take
like,
place during the golden age of porn, which is when like movies like were actually being shown in theaters.
Yeah, skin flicks.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, skin flicks, like yeah, triple X
Skin
theaters, things like that. So
Well, I think it's an interesting point too. Like back when he's first explained to Eddie, when Jack has explained to Eddie about porn and the cost of it, he's talking 20, 30 grand,
Yeah.
which is
This is like
crazy
nothing.
money, right? Crazy money. No, if you think about it, to shoot porn is crazy money. They don't
Mhm.
spend that now. And
Oh,
you know,
and
a lot of
especially
it
in the
has to do with the
70s, yeah.
film stock. Easy to explain. We got a film, and you got the lighting guy, and you got the sound guy. You know, now you can pay to fucking yahoos $12 an hour to do that shit.
Mhm.
As far as a crew, you don't need a fucking crew. You know what I mean? per
And the
se.
gear is significantly more
You can get it off
accessible.
Amazon and stuff. Yeah,
$500
so it's
bucks.
interesting when
Yeah.
he points out. And I think it means a lot later in the film when they're transitioning to video, which is
Mhm.
And there is a scene
part
where
of
they
what's
talk
cool
about tape, and then you as the viewer know exactly how tape went in VHS and home movies. You know, because I mean, back then in the 70s, if you were gonna watch a movie, you were gonna go to a theater because they were playing them
Yeah.
for a year, maybe
Yeah.
longer. But then when home VHS came out, then you could just buy the movie, watch it at home, and so
Yeah, and you could
Is-
record it onto a VHS. Like, it's a
Mhm.
significantly cheaper operation as well.
And so
Um,
it was interesting listening to the Colonel's propositions. So like this is the future. Like we got to go with the future. And
Right.
then
This is at
Jack
that
was
New
like,
Year's party after the so after the montage of Dirk Diggler getting more famous, he buys the Corvette.
mhm,
He's getting closer and closer to Amber Waves, who's Julianne Moore's character. He buys a nice house. Like he's literally got it made at this point. Him
Yeah.
and John C. Riley both, because John C. Riley is his partner in crime here. Uh, and then we have this New Year's party where everybody's there, and then the Colonel invites this other guy who's like some other porn mogul, I guess, or maybe he's just a mobster. I didn't really understand what his role was.
he was I think he was also a porn star, but like later in the
I'm gonna
game.
pee real quick.
Okay. Yeah, because he's kind of what Dirk Diggler becomes. You're good, Jeremy. Oh, he muted
Yeah,
himself.
he
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the dude that suggests VHS to Burt Reynolds, the older.
Oh,
guy.
okay. Yeah, that guy was kind of like just in and out. He was oh, man. What's the actor's name?
Well,
I don't
either
know.
way.
Oh, Robert Downey Sr. is Burt. Yeah, he's not really like in this all that much.
Yeah, well, he's in there for that. Oh, that's Robert Downey
Yeah.
Sr. Interesting. Well, he's like, yeah, he shows up. He's
Nope.
like, VHS is
Yeah.
the way of the future. We should do porn on VHS. And of course, Burt Reynolds is like,
Jack's
no
an
way,
artist.
man.
He's an artist. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this on film. I've been doing it on film. This is art. He's like, I love that line. We're not trying to win an Oscar.
Oh,
man."
sorry. It's Philip Baker Hall.
Oh, Philip Baker Hall. Okay.
Philip Baker Hall. Yeah. Very famous guy.
But
Never heard of him. Are
You
sure?
would
Who
know.
is this?
You would know. Philip Baker Hall. You have definitely seen him in movies. He's been in
I'm
everything,
sure I've seen him. I just never,
like
I
the
don't know.
'90s and 2000s. So
Oh, okay. But yeah, there's that. There's the payoff scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman's character where he drags Marky Mark out to see his closest replication of the Stingray Corvette in electric orange,
Oh yeah, this guy's
Mhm.
been in everything.
which is
Yeah.
what car was that even?
it was a Corvette. It was a,
Was that a
90, a
Corvette?
78 Corvette. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Hideous
Yeah.
cars.
Terrible.
can't hear you, Jeremy.
cars.
Hideous cars.
That was Mark's
I
car.
hated-
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated 70s Corvettes. man.
70s everything was terrible. I think
yeah, they ruined
past the
everything in the
60s. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of monster cars that were muscle cars rather.
That's the golden age of muscle cars. Is the
No,
70s.
I would say
Super
60s,
B
man.
And
No, it's not.
60s. 60s
Categorically.
is beautiful.
that's one thing.
60s
Hold
are
on, that's one thing got big before the gas
Right.
embargo. Everything got big, like really big in the 70s. But man, dude, they had the best muscle cars in the 70s. Absolutely the
I'm
best.
still
Yeah, I would say
60s
that's
guy.
got to be. I mean, maybe not to everyone, but I would say objectively, that's like when the really, really big popular muscle cars came out because they
True.
had the huge big block engines and all that.
2 miles a gallon, the whole thing. But
Yeah.
anyways. So Philip Seymour Hoffman shows him his car. This is the part where he tries to kiss him, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
he tries to kiss him, and then
Yeah.
freaking, Dirk Diggler,
Scotty, that's right. That's his
Scotty.
character's name, Scotty.
Scotty, he's like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck are you doing, man?" And it's like the most awkward. Like it's such a realistically awkward.
And you feel
Yes.
so bad for Scotty.
Mhm.
You know, he's just trying to do what Scotties do.
Yeah.
You know,
He's just
trying to make the move on the dude he's been crushing on for years now, probably at this point.
Mhm.
You know, and he
Yeah.
gets shot down, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's so sad too because Dirk is like, yeah, no, man, it's cool. Let's go back inside. Like let's go back inside.
Right,
He
to play
doesn't
it
tell
off.
us shit on him.
No,
right?
he doesn't
He's
shit
just,
on him at
yeah.
all. He's like, nah, man, like
Could be worse.
whatever, fucking water under the
Mhm.
bridge. Like let's just end this. And then he doesn't take Scotty's just like, I'm gonna sit in my car and cry.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was pretty rough. Like, and he's just telling himself, he's just like, "You're so fucking stupid," like
You're so
over and over
stupid,
again,
so
and it's just like,
stupid.
oh.
And
Philip
then
Seymour
William H.
Hoffman,
Macy
man,
shows up
other
to the
guy.
party immediately after.
Mhm.
And he's like, "You see my wife?" He walks into a room. Apparently, clearly, this is the third time now. We're like, oh, okay, she's
Mhm.
she's
She's
banging
definitely
somebody.
fucking somebody.
She's fucking somebody in that room. He walks back out to his car. This is a long shot too, which I really enjoyed.
Wait. No, he finds her. He
Yeah.
finds her. Yeah,
It's a
then
long
walks back
shot
out to
from
his
when
car.
it's a long shot from when he talks to the guy. Says, "Do you know where my wife is?" He's like, the guy's like, "No, man, I don't know." But like, come join us in the main like party area. Let's dance. And then he's like, looks And he's like, nah. He turns around the corner. He walks. It just shows the hallway. He opens the bedroom door, walks in. He comes out. He like goes out of frame behind the bedroom door. You hear like banging happening. And then he's like, okay, whatever. Comes back out. The camera follows him all the way out to the driveway. He grabs a fucking revolver from his glove box, puts a bullet in it, walks all the way back into the house, all the way back to that bedroom. Bang, bang, bang.
As they're cheering too.
Yeah. And then as they're cheering, it's fucking
For the
New
countdown.
Year's on the dot.
Yeah.
Everybody starts screaming. He walks back into the main hall where everybody is like realized that he's shot people. And then he blows his own brains out in front of everybody. What
And
a
then it cuts to 1980.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like
Huge,
80.
Yeah.
huge fucking turn in the movie. Like the tone of the movie completely changes right here.
Yeah.
You can definitely see it
It's the
coming.
180. It's
like-
the 180.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I-
Liz has a
I
good
agree
point.
with
Like,
this,
yeah. You definitely know he's gonna snap. Like Ben, Ben, you had a good point earlier. Like, you know he's gonna snap. Like there's a point where he's been fed up. He's walked on him so many times before the movie even starts. And so there is that point where like, yeah, you're just like, dude, come on. Like your wife is getting railed constantly. You got to do something about it. But by the time he does something about it, you're like, this is not good.
It's not the way
This
to
is
go.
not
It's not the way to go
good.
about it. It's not the
No.
way to
And
go.
so
Nope.
when this scene
not a healthy
happens,
way.
I was like, I thought he was gonna get in his car and leave. You know, and just like
Yeah, you
continue
think that
being
at
his
first.
character. But then he gets this gun. Yeah, then he gets the gun and then shoots his wife and the guy that was screwing her. And you're just like, oh my God. Or like, okay,
Yeah.
then it sets you up for the kind of the rest of this movie. But then it kind of flips again and you're back still in the
it is
end of the
weird. I
golden
mean,
ages.
It needs to
Yeah.
take, it
It's
takes
very
a
interesting.
minute to, it takes a minute to be like, okay, so anyways, like, yeah, this movie's going to be dark. This is how I
Mhm.
feel like the director was talking me
Yeah.
through it as we were watching it. It's like, so this movie's going to be dark. You know, it's going to be dark now because I showed you a really dark scene, but like, we're not there yet. So first, what I need to do is I need to explain to you why these characters that are lovable and dumb are actually not lovable. They're just dumb. And so let's do that first. And then we get that whole fucking sequence of the film that Amber Waves makes of
That's
Dirk
great.
Diggler,
Mhm.
where Dirk he says so many fucking batshit stupid scenes. He's
Yeah.
like I do my own blocking, and then fucking
Yeah.
Jack is like, no, he doesn't block his own scenes. And then he's like, I know karate, and
Mhm.
and like, no, I'm really a black belt. You need to fucking don't take that shit out about me not being a black belt. And there's
Right.
the scene where he says Napoleon was a Roman emperor. And
Oh,
like people
yeah.
were constantly trying to
Yeah.
conquer him, and he feels like he's Napoleon. There's
Yeah.
so many fucking like lines where he's just like, this guy's a fucking
Has he started doing
idiot.
coke yet by then?
yeah. He does coke
Yes.
at the New
Where's
Year's
the part where
party.
she introduces him to coke?
That's at the New
That's
Year's
at
party.
the New
yeah,
Year's
yeah,
party.
That is
Yeah.
the New Year's party. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
It's
So he's
also
doing coke at this
where,
point.
Mhm.
where one of the other porn actresses interacts with Don Cheadle, and he's finally changed out of the cowboy outfit into that.
That's why he's got
The
that
weird
he's got that
Egyptian
wig
thing?
on.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or is it
he's
whatever?
Egyptian.
He's doing the what's his name?
Like a Prince.
Rick
James.
Rick
Oh,
James.
He's doing the
He's
Rick
James
He's
thing.
doing the
Yeah,
Rick
yeah,
James
yeah,
act,
Yeah, he's like a dead ringer with that wig. Not a
He
dead
takes
ringer.
the wig off. He's like, "This is dumb," and she's like, "Yeah, it is
Yeah,
dumb."
Yeah, you should take that.
Anyways, what were we talking about? You like sunsets more than sunset, or more
Right.
than,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sunrises. But yeah, so like that whole thing happens in the side plot. And that's why I like Don Cheadle. He never gets involved in like the icky fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Of the
He was,
main
he
plot.
was a
He's pure.
really good,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
really
as-
good side character.
as pure as possible in this whole world. That he's
Again,
living
I
in.
love
Yeah.
the supporting cast in this movie because their stories
Yeah.
are so interesting. Their characters are so good and well written.
This is
so.
also where we meet Mustache Boy, who is apparently the Punisher as well.
Oh, Thomas Jane.
Yeah,
Thomas
we
Jane,
meet.
yeah.
His
He's kind
name's-
of he's a coke dealer or
Yes.
No,
just
he's
a
a-
No.
procurer.
He procures coke, but he's actually a male stripper.
Yeah,
Right,
his name's
okay.
Todd. His name's Todd.
Todd.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Todd, the male stripper.
Yeah.
He's the one who's always getting the coke for them, though. There's that whole
Yes.
montage where they're like, "Where you been?
No,
Finally!"
that's right. I
Yeah.
love
Right,
that.
right.
Comes
Yeah,
out
and then
all
the
over
next
the
scene
place,
is
walking
like,
in
dude,
with
you've
more
been
bags
taking
of coke.
fucking forever, and like, they're
Yeah.
actually
I
getting
love
mad
that
at him.
though. That is
Yeah.
doing all his coke, and he's like, "Where the fuck you been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the fuck you been?
Because they're so coked out."
Yeah, well, that's what starts to happen, right? He gets coked out, and then he has a serious falling out with Jack.
Jack,
Dirk
yeah.
has a serious falling out with
I'm ready
Jack.
to do the fucking scene right fucking now.
Mhm.
I'm hard now, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
I'm ready to fuck now.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus. This is
That
and
was
he's
an
like,
uncomfortable
I-
bathroom scene.
Oh man, when he's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
trying to say,
yeah.
come on, you're a star, you're a star, come on.
Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah, that
I
was
didn't-
like really
I don't
weird.
know how to feel about
You
that
never
one.
done that, Jeremy?
Shot it at yourself in the mirror angrily while
You're
yeah.
a
You
star.
try to get your dick to work?
That was very
Remember?
The Boise to me. Like that felt
It
a
did
lot like
feel
I was
kinda like
watching a
The
scene of
Boys,
like from Homelander, like talking to himself. You know, like
well, that's
working
what that
himself
is, that
up.
is a scene. That's one of those deleted scenes.
Oh
That
yeah,
ended up
that they
in-
used for the
into
second season.
two.
Yeah, he's like, I can do anything I
Yeah.
want, and he's jacking off
Do
on a
anything I
city.
want.
I can do
I could
anything
do
I want. It's
anything
the
I
same
want.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which shows
Very
that he's
disturbing.
like clearly he's
Who's
ready to fall
honking?
from
You got a
grace.
what? Do you got a clown out there? or Something?
It's the elote guy selling.
Oh, I love that guy, dude. I love elote.
Hell
I'm
Dude.
not joking. It's the elote.
Elote.
Why did
Can
I
you go
move
get me
out of
one?
Costa Mesa? What is happening?
Dude, elote is
God
fantastic,
damn,
man.
Yeah.
Ben, we
Putting
moved out at the
mayonnaise on
wrong
it.
time. We had
Mayonnaise
Ben and
chili
I-
powder.
Ben and I had
Amazing.
this ice cream truck that would come down in our neighborhood. Did you ever see this thing? It was painted matte black.
Yeah. It was weird.
How fucking creepy is a
Yeah, it's
matte
really
black
weird.
ice cream truck?
Maybe
it
it was
didn't even
vampire.
have like
Terrifying.
stuff on it. It was just a map. It was like a.
It was
fucking-
it was
a
just such
van.
a
Weird.
it was
It was
so
a child
weird.
procurement van.
It's so creepy. So creepy.
Yikes.
Thank
Did
you,
he have
Southern
did he sell
California.
elote?
Love it. No,
Yeah. Did he have the corn with the mayonnaise and the chili powder though?
I
don't
did
know.
not go and check.
Could have gotten me.
There's a place near here that has it. I'm just saying, man. Texas still got that shit.
All right.
But yeah, so we we fucking end up with Dirk Diggler like quitting and getting fired at the same time from the porn operation. He's like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and he decides to like try to become a pop star.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like his next
or
A
thing.
rock star, bro.
Mhm.
Oh, a
Yeah.
rock star. Sorry.
I-
He tries-
I-
No, it's
this-
pop. This is 80s
I
pop,
love
man.
this fucking part of the movie, man.
it's
We
so.
will rock you.
It's like pop,
So-
80s pop
got-
rock.
It's
What
so
I mean.
bad. It's like Rush. It's like Rush.
John C. Riley's playing that
It's
sweet
nothing like
flying
Rush.
beat.
Rush
Yeah.
is prog rock. This ain't
Yeah.
fucking prog rock.
Oh,
This
it was
is
like,
like
is it REM?
closer to
Is that what I'm thinking
Queen,
of? I'm
No.
thinking of something with an R.
Not even Queen, man. Like it was
Like a Queen knockoff.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was like
bad.
it
They're
was
trying
like
to be
U2.
Sticks or something.
It was
I
like
don't know.
Or
U2.
Sticks,
I don't
yeah,
know.
that's a good
yeah.
example.
Yeah,
Sticks.
Sticks is a good one.
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
And
one
John
of
C.
our music
Riley's like-
fans.
Terrible.
He's like, okay, let's work these chords out.
I love that part of this song.
Flying
Feel,
beat.
feel.
Both of them are
Yeah.
Heat.
Let's extend that
terrible.
part. Let's double that. Yeah.
Let's
You
double
think we
that
should?
up.
Yeah, I think we should extend that. Yeah.
Fucking
God,
great.
I
everything
love that
was
scene
like-
where they're showing the sound engineer in the booth is just
Yeah.
and then John C. Riley in the back.
Yeah.
Fucking rocking back.
Yeah, and he's like totally digging it.
You got, that's what it is. You got the touch.
power. I love that part.
So
It's
bad.
good.
Oh my god. I mean, at this point, he's clearly
Music
like on
ever.
a downward trajectory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's
they're
just
showing
grasping
that
at
he's blowing all
straws
his
now.
money on coke
Mhm.
and this stupid album they're trying to make. you
Yeah,
know?
this is where we also get.
They
the
can't even
scene where
afford.
Todd
They can't even
keeps
afford the
coming home.
demos.
Yeah. Todd keeps coming home with more and more coke, and every single time, at first they're like, "Hey," and then
Yeah,
eventually they're like,
exactly.
"Where the fuck were you?"
Yeah. Get progressively less and less patient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so funny. to show that their addiction getting worse and worse. It's a great
Yeah.
way to do
Yeah,
it.
it's good.
Yeah.
Good way
good
to
way
show
do
how
it.
badly these guys are getting addicted to cocaine. So
Mhm.
And then at the same time, like the movie quality is dropping from Burt Reynolds' perspective. Like he's got this new stud actor who's like weirdly aggressive. Like every scene they show him, he's
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
suck it, bitch."
He's like pointing a gun. He's like
Yeah.
yeah, he's
pointing a
pointing
gun
a
at one of
gun
the
off
girls.
screen down at the girl blowing him.
Yeah. Which is
Well,
funny because that's what Mark Wahlberg was talking about earlier.
Yes.
Where he's
That he
like,
didn't
yeah,
want.
this guy's kind of an asshole. Like, you know, we
Yeah.
should be, you know, we don't need to be like that. That's not really
That's sexy, man.
They were
That's
talking
It's
about.
not, it's not the right kind of sexy. Like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want.
Mhm.
He shouldn't be violent towards women like that.
Yeah, I can't. I can't remember the dude's name, but there was a porn star that was active during the same time. Who they're referencing. But yeah,
I
they're
figured
basically
it must have
talking-
been some
yeah.
real.
Well, they keep
thing
saying
that was
John
going on.
Holmes.
That's it, John Holmes.
Yeah,
Yeah, which a lot of people
Which-
thought Dirk Diggler was based on audience members of the movie, but this scene implies that Dirk Diggler was a contrast to John Holmes. They were
There's
they were
actually
active during the same
really-
time.
Really quick, there's a movie about the Wonderland murders, which John Holmes was involved with, called Wonderland, and it's got Iceman from what's his
Arnold
name?
Schwarzenegger.
Iceman from Top Gun. Val
Oh.
Kilmer. Val Kilmer
Val
is in
Kilmer.
it.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer
yeah.
plays John Holmes in it. It's a really good movie. Came out
Hmm.
same time-ish, takes around the same time period, early 80s. I think is when this happened, or late 70s.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
it's a story of the it's a true story about John Holmes and these murders he was involved with, called the
Hmm.
Wonderland murders.
Gotcha.
So, anyways,
Um,
side note.
I
another good
could
movie to
see Val
watch.
Kilmer in this movie, actually.
Yeah, another
yeah,
good
Val
movie to
Kilmer would
watch.
not be out of place in this movie.
Oh
No.
yeah, absolutely not. Yeah.
But so I mean, yeah, we like clearly the quality of their movies is going down. Even Burt Reynolds is like, man, like he walks into the editing room and he's like, how does it look? And even the editor's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like clearly all parties are unhappy at this point. We're on a downward spiral.
Except for that actor. The actual
Yeah,
actor.
he's
who's
living the life.
Except
replacing-
that guy.
He's living it.
This is
Oh
where
yeah, he's become the new Dirk Diggler. Yeah.
yeah.
my
living it up.
favorite scene of the whole movie happens, which is where those guys go to score the coke at
Oh, yes, at Doc
Oct-
Ock's house.
Dr. Octopus's house.
Yeah, that's this is Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2 with Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire.
What's
This
his
is-
name?
you know, wait. Do you got
I
it,
can't think
Jeremy?
of his name.
Alfred
The actor's
Molina.
name. What's it?
Alfred Molina.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
also Satipo from the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Doc Ock in this scene where they go and they basically are like, we're gonna take baking powder and sell it to
Oh,
this
yeah,
dude for
this-
$5,000.
That's a little.
Yeah.
That's a little bit later, but yeah, that's
Really quick though, the soundtrack of this fucking movie is fantastic.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
It's a bunch of
Great
80s
soundtrack.
hits. Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
It is the
That 70s disco that
awesome
movie
mix
opens with
volume
is-
fucking 0.
Oh, it's so
Right.
good.
There's actually
yeah.
a lot of the same songs.
Yeah.
So
Awesome
good.
Mix Volume 1.
Yeah, a bunch of amazing, like
But this
literally
is-
just a bunch of 80s jams.
No,
and
it's just
70s
it's
jams.
already
Yeah.
7 o'clock. I'm just trying to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
almost
we
This
don't
is a
want to
long
forget.
movie, so
yeah,
it's
it
kind of
is a
hard
very
to cover
long
it
movie.
trying to move ahead here.
We don't want to miss Don Cheadle's scene right before.
course not.
this,
Oh
though.
God.
But
Yeah.
is that right before this?
It's right before it. Yeah, Don Cheadle's scene is the last scene of the 80s, and then we go into the final act of the film.
Is this where he
No,
goes to the-
Don Cheadle's scene.
donut
Are you
shop?
talking about the donut shop? That
The
happens.
shop is right
yeah.
before. It's right before.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So
It's the last scene of the 80s where
Yeah.
Don
Well,
Cheadle
they're
goes-
trying to. Him and
Talk
his wife
about-
are trying to go get a loan, or girlfriend,
Mhm.
or whatever it is. They're trying to get
Yeah.
a loan for this stereo shop. That's his dream, is to open a stereo shop. They can't get the loan. It's a great scene too. Fantastic
Mm-hmm.
scene.
You're
I
a
love Cheadle's, like-
you're a pornographer. Why do you keep calling me a pornographer, man? I'm an
I'm an
I,
actor.
I love. He's like,
Yeah.
is there something I can put on the form? Just tell me what I need to
Mhm.
put on the form. It's
Oh, it's
such a
heartbreaking.
beautiful, earnest
Mhm.
portrayal. You know what I mean, by Cheadle, of this character who just like you were saying, Danon. The side characters are the best characters in this film.
Mhm.
Easily.
Absolutely.
And it's so great because you have
Yeah.
this guy who just really wants to make this happen and he can't. And then later on, she's pregnant and she's out in the car and he goes into the donut
The
store
donut shop.
and the place gets robbed
Mhm.
and everyone gets killed.
Yeah.
In the like a
Except for
very
Cheadle.
Pulp Fiction,
Yes.
very Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. I don't know when Pulp
Or
Fiction
like,
came out.
What's the movie with
Early 90s.
Reservoir
Fuck.
was early 90s.
Killer
Pulp
Instincts.
was 94.
Mhm.
Pulp
Okay,
was
so
early
yeah,
90s,
a very
91,
Pulp
94.
Fiction moment where
It is.
the guy sitting like some fucking biker dude sitting in a booth pulls out his gun and shoots the dude that's robbing the place. That
It's a
guy shoots
Mexican
him.
standoff shit,
And then
yeah.
Yeah.
he shoots his gun
He
and hits
shoots
the
everybody.
cashier in the back of the head.
Mhm.
The blood gets
Yeah.
all over Don Cheadle, who by the way is wearing a fucking stark white suit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because the director again was like, so I just want you to understand that Don Cheadle has never done anything wrong
Yeah,
before
yeah.
this moment. And then there's the bag of cash sitting on the floor, and Don Cheadle's like, bet I could buy a fucking
How much
sticker with
money are at donut shops in the 70s? 20,000?
Dude,
I
there
know,
were
right?
hundreds in that
Jesus.
thing.
Guy opened
I
the
worked at a
fucking
donut shop 5
Yeah.
years ago. We didn't have that kind of money,
Was there 20 grand in there?
and
'cause
we
I
were in
like to
Newport
Maybe it's
Beach.
because there's no
Dollars,
credit
maybe.
cards, so everything was cash.
But
Maybe.
even still,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
70s. There could have
Yeah.
been $60 in
you're-
there. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But it's
Well,
for the
and
movie. It's a movie.
$60
So
would
it's
have
funny.
been a lot more.
Because then he
yeah.
turns around and opens up a stereo shop with that fucking donut money, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's my
Like,
loan right there.
You should just
bag
open
of
up a
money.
How did
donut
he
shop.
explain
Hell,
to
the
his
donut
wife?
shop.
Yeah.
How did he explain to
He
his
did-
wife that he was covered in fucking blood after being in the
Ah,
goddamn
you know.
donut shop?
Don't need that.
I would have walked right in that car with the cash and the blood on me, and I said, "Don't you fucking
read-
ask."
Don't ask. We're open
So
stereo shop.
the
We're
loan
Opening
went
the
through.
stereo shop. That's
Mhm.
all you need to know.
Yeah, the loan went. I got the
Yeah.
loan, baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Different kind of loan, but
But yeah, then the next scene is Dirk Diggler is at his fucking absolute worst. Apparently his Corvette has been in some kind of accident, which they don't even
Yeah.
describe. You just see
Mhm.
it all banged up.
Which is
it's a
clever.
deleted scene
Yeah.
now.
He's doing a
Deleted scene,
shit. So
actually.
Oh, that's a deleted scene.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he basically his friend Todd comes up with this idea to sell baking powder to a very wealthy individual.
Really quick before this, Dirk Diggler is actually selling. He's basically prostituting himself. Like he'll go meet up with guys
Oh,
and
you're right. there's another
basically
scene. That's a good
offer
one.
to jerk off in the car next to them and let them watch
Yeah, just
for
like
like
he used to
20
do.
bucks, like he used
Mhm.
to, like as a little kid,
And
like
at the
17-year-old
same
kid, you know?
time, freaking Burt Reynolds is trying to do a VHS like bang bus.
That's a great
Thing.
scene with Roller Girl.
Yeah, where they
when-
just like pick up random dudes off the street and then just have them
he-
bang Roller Girl in the back of this limousine.
and he says
Yeah.
live on tape. You can see
Yeah,
him
it's like-
struggling with making this transition to video.
Right.
Oh
know what I
yeah,
mean?
and he's like,
Even though he knows he has to, he's struggling with making this transition to video because
and that whole thing, respect her. That's Roller Girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene was like hard, but also the music. This is the most
So the
important
music
thing.
is just fucking heart. It's like bump, bump, bump.
But
Yeah.
it's a heartbeat rhythm, but it's of a fucking funeral bells, dude. It's like electronic
Yeah.
funeral bells. That's what's going on for about 5 minutes as you're watching Dirk Diggler at his lowest point in his entire life. You know
He's
that
getting
That's what it's a
beat
part-
up
it's this
because
whole
he's-
part.
you
because he's
never ever
gay,
want to
so
see
he's getting beat up.
anybody get to anybody that you would like your worst enemy. You would not want to see them. at
Cocaine's
this
a hell
point
of a
in their life.
drug.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Yeah.
it's also
yeah.
playing during this scene where this guy that they pick up off the street who they're supposed to like have sex with, Roller Girl, is like, hey, we went to high school together, like your name's what's your name, like Becker or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And she like freaks out. She's like, I have no
That's
idea what
the
you're talking
guy
about.
at the beginning, though.
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
guy
That's
at the
the test.
beginning.
The guy
that
that-
takes her-
yeah, with like
Yeah.
making
It's
fun of her and
Test guy.
bullying her. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
heartbreaking scene. It is.
Damn.
I
actually
felt
didn't make that
so
connection.
uncomfortable watching that
Mm.
scene, dude.
That
And
was
It
awful,
was.
it shows
Oh,
it shows how good of an actress the Roller Girl actress is. Because dude, man,
Uh,
is because she tears up during the it's just great.
Yeah.
Oh
kinda-
yeah, no, she's like obviously like everybody's at their lowest moment.
She never got a real
together.
fair shake. That
Heather
actress.
Graham.
Heather
Yeah.
Graham. She never got a real fair shake. This is her best role, I'd say. Her best dramatic role.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, it was
She's
played for the
great.
sex appeal because apparently on
Yeah.
her first day of shooting, they shot the nude scene where she takes her dress off and has sex with Dirk Diggler
Mm.
for his like proving
Oh, wow.
sex scene or whatever. Like, yeah, that
That
was
sucks.
the first scene that they shot. So, and I've never heard of her. So
Oh, really?
she kind of
She's
just
been-
did that.
She's been in a
I've
ton
heard
of
of
stuff.
Heather Graham before.
No, she's
Never-
been in a ton
I've
of
never
stuff.
heard of
Sounds
her.
familiar.
But she never really,
Oh, she was in Swingers.
you know,
and she
yeah,
was on Twin Peaks.
she's at the end of Swingers. She's absolutely stunning in Swingers.
and
She's
she
dressed
was
up all
the
50s rockabilly.
prostitute in Hangover
Yeah, yeah.
with the baby.
Oh,
With the
yeah.
baby, Carl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
not Carl. What's the
Mhm.
baby's name?
I don't know.
Oh, I forget. That's a fun
Carlos?
movie. I haven't seen that.
Uh,
I fuck it. Carlos. I
yeah.
love that movie. That movie's fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. Great
But
movie.
yeah, so and then dude, that fucking scene, I thought that was really interesting that they beat the shit out of the dude that was disrespecting Roller Girl.
Oh,
after
dude,
he
yeah,
died.
Hey,
she
that guy had it
loses her
coming.
mind.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, no, he was a jerk, but like you know,
Unbelievable.
clearly Jack has crossed the
great.
line here,
He's
beating
going
the shit out of him.
overboard.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
then
Well, that's
then they
that's what
finally
we-
get Jack off of him, like the limo driver
Ha,
finally
Jack
pulls
off.
Jack off, and she.
see what you did there.
And then Roller Girl gets out of the car with her fucking skates and starts stomping on his
Yeah.
head with her fucking skates. Like
Mhm.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It's a great scene though because it shows everyone at their lowest.
Oh
Right?
yeah, they're
Yeah,
beating
yeah.
the shit out of some dude,
Everybody.
and then at the exact same moment, Mark Wahlberg, because he tried to get paid to jerk off in front of another dude, is getting beat up because he's gay by some.
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
And then also Maggie or Amber Waves, who is 2 beers. That's all it does. That's all it takes.
Julianne
Julianne
Moore.
Moore.
Impressive.
Julianne Moore. Thank you.
Impressive.
I know. It's cheap, okay? So Julianne Moore's character is also trying to get custody of her child back in court at the same time. And she loses again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they like end that one on like, well, what was your last arrest and what was it for? To
Yeah.
make sure that she's not like a drug addict, and clearly it's like
Yeah.
she probably got arrested for possession or something.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well,
And
the thing though too is like,
husband has the greasiest hair I think I've ever seen. in
yeah,
a movie.
it's pretty gross.
Not a great look.
Grease-
Not a great look.
But the thing though is like a
Every
very
single
important takeaway that I took from the scene of all these characters kind of at their lowest point is it really shows you how unfair people were and still are to sex workers. Like
Yeah, it's a
like
porn
they're
artist,
literally
yeah.
denying this guy from getting a loan to open up a business to kind of restart his life just because he did porn. You know?
Yeah, that
And
guy's
same
getting
thing is like
discriminated against. left
that
and
too.
right
He's
in this
also I
movie
mean Don
for-
Cheadle's
for
also black.
Yeah,
a
I mean,
number
Don
of
Cheadle-
What did
reasons.
Don Cheadle? But the thing is, like I'm trying to remember now. Well, like Don Cheadle
He
wasn't
was-
in porn.
No,
He
he
didn't
was.
hold
He
the
was
weapon.
an actor.
He was an actor.
They don't
He was
show
a porn
him.
actor.
he
They don't
really?
show him nude, but
They
he was
never-
definitely one of the
They
actors.
never show.
Okay,
Yeah, he's one.
because when they say that to him, I always miss that part, I guess, because I'm starting to think like, well, I know he worked at the Stereo Store, but when was he ever in porn? I know he's hanging out with those people
Yeah.
all the time.
You know, they imply it a
realized he
lot.
was
I
actually
mean,
doing
that's
porn.
why he gets hired at the stereo store in the first place, is because like the dude's like, I thought you would like, you know, his boss is like, I thought you would bring people
Bring
in with like
chicks
your
in.
your
Yeah.
chicks and like stuff
Mhm.
like that. It was it's all gross concerning him, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. You know, but then these people are getting
and then
denied.
he gets discriminated against on the basis that he's a pornographer
Mhm.
by the
He keeps
bank.
correcting him.
Yeah.
You know, and
And
I
then
think
after
the
that,
Don
about her.
Cheadle's storyline is actually like Dan had said. You know, we can say it a billion times, but I think that's a phenomenal
Incredible.
storyline. I actually don't get that vibe quite as much from the other storylines that like they have it unfair. Like I don't feel like Burt Reynolds' life is unfair. I
Mhm.
certainly
Also,
don't think that,
Julianne Moore, because she is a drug addict, she should
I don't
not
think
be.
that Julianne
She
Moore's
should
life
not
is
have her
unfair.
child because of the way her life's going. Not
I don't
because
even
she's
think-
a porn actress, but because of the way that her life is going.
Right.
She
Right.
cannot
Well,
raise
I
a
don't even
child.
think William H. Macy's character has
Yeah.
a particularly unfair life. Like he could have at any time not married that skank of a wife, right?
And also
Or-
have
or, like,
yeah,
confronted
divorced her or whatever.
Divorced her,
yeah,
dropped
left her,
her.
whatever.
Yeah, like
Like,
if
you're
you want to
making
do
your
this,
own
do it
bed,
without
man.
me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's why I like Don Cheadle's story arc the most, is because it is like the most, you know, emotionally impactful. Like it's not,
Mhm.
he's not getting
You're
served up
rooting for the
with
guy.
something. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like,
you're rooting
God,
for the guy.
man, it's fucked up. But yeah, so that all happens. They're at their lowest point, and then we get to Daryl's favorite scene, which is the fucking let's
Let's
sell
go buy the coke.
Yeah.
let's sell coke
This
to
is-
to
this
Oh,
Rob.
sorry,
is-
yeah, not buy the coke. Sell the coke to the guy to steal his money, to get the money for, and he's got that that Chinese guy in the background just blowing up fucking.
Yeah, well, clearly,
Dude,
this
I
is
love
like,
that.
It's
Yeah.
so unsettling.
Oh,
The whole
so
scene is
good.
unsettling.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
Doc
wait,
Ock
wait.
to
Let's
speak-
set it up. Let's set it up first. So these guys are going to sell baking soda
Yeah.
to this guy for $5,000, pretending it's
this
a kilo,
rich dude,
half a
yeah, this
kilo of
eccentric
cocaine.
rich dude, yeah.
Yeah, half a
Half
key.
a key, baby.
Yeah, half a key of cocaine.
Half a key,
And
get
so
paid,
they
baby.
go in, and also Todd, who's the male stripper, who's also the Punisher later. He's packing. He
he's
packs
got
a
a
gun, and he
huge
pulls his
gun.
gun like out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
And says,
And
they're
like,
what
dude,
the
what
fuck
the
is
fuck
that?
you
He's like,
doing?
it's a huge gun.
Yeah. And so he puts that in his pants, and they go in, and then already like, not even just because of the gun, but like multiplied by 100, everybody's like on their like
The
last
this-
nerve.
yeah,
Like it's
the-
like it's very very
tension
tense.
is through the
Yeah.
fucking roof. In that,
Mhm.
in that
And
scene.
so
absolutely.
when they get escorted in by the doorman, they notice that he's also strapped. He's got a
Like,
gun
a
on him.
giant gun. Yeah.
And so you see like, okay, you see that the three main characters, you know, that these guys are walking in, they have a gun. You also see this doorman has a gun. And then later in the scene, Doc Ock also pulls out a revolver with a single bullet in it. So he's got a gun.
Yeah.
And there's a guy in the background just throwing these poppers around. Like
Yeah,
these
it's-
M80s. He's just chucking these M80s around like it's nothing. He's like, oh, he's
oh my
Chinese.
god! And of
it's
course,
fine.
it adds so much to the
It's
tension
like-
of the scene because everything sounds like a gunshot in the background, anyways.
Yeah.
And the characters are reacting to it. Like John C. Riley is coming out of his skin every time
Yeah.
one of those fireworks goes off. And so
And-
you're like watching the scene. Like I was like, I was laying down at this point. I usually like tend to doze off during our movies because it's like my nap time. I also eat during them. And so I sat up during this one. I was like, oh my God, like this is like my anxiety was like going.
Oh yeah, I
150%.
got my anxiety
it
going
was,
too.
It was
It was a rough scene, and then like they get the thing, like everything goes the way that they want it to, and they're just like, let's go. And Todd is like, out of nowhere, is like, we want
Oh,
what's
that's right.
in the floor vault.
And he's
Yeah.
obviously had this plan the whole
Under-
time and didn't tell them.
Mhm.
yeah,
Just
under
sprung
your
it
bed.
on all of them.
Yeah, on everybody. Everybody's shocked.
Including us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he like pulls out his gun and points it at the doorman, and he's like, "Don't you fucking pull that gun, man!" And then like, he gets shot by the revolver. He turns around, he shoots the doorman, and then the Ray
Doorman
had
pulls out two Berettas and he's going like
Yeah.
Max Payne
Yeah,
style.
He's shooting. He's fucking
Yeah.
akimbo shooting
Max
at
Payne
Marky
is Mark
Mark
Wahlberg.
and John C. Riley, who are like, "Don't shoot!"
Yeah.
He fucking pulls he shoots the doorman down, and he like kicks the door in of the bedroom. At this point, they've won too. This is the amazing thing is they
Yeah.
like actually have
They're
totally turned
done.
things around. Todd has
Yeah.
been shot. And they're like, let's just get the fuck out of here. Let's take our money. Let's go. And he's like, no, man, we're taking the blow and the money that's in this guy's floor safe. We're going to do it. He kicks the door open and then immediately gets shotgunned in the stomach because, like, of course that guy had another gun.
Yeah.
Fucking moron. And then I felt really bad about this scene, but fucking Marky Mark gets to the Corvette. And John C. Reilly like sees the Corvette get shot and just like beelines it to a yard.
He like
so
takes
Marky
off
Mark-
into a
yeah.
hedge. He
Yeah.
jumps into a
And
hedge.
so Marky Mark like gets in his Corvette and drives off and leaves John C. Reilly there. I was like,
Oh, you're getting
like,
shot at.
Dude,
I mean,
yeah.
Shotgun.
Yeah.
I get it, but it also just feels like, you know,
Could have
it's
gone
like
in the car.
no
with
no
Marky Mark.
loyalty, right?
Mhm.
Like, what are you gonna do?
You just gotta
I
leave.
guess.
Yeah.
That's a tough
It's a-
situation.
Getting shot at. You know,
Yeah.
you're
I do
coked
feel real-
out,
Yeah.
or you're going into withdrawals from coke. Yeah,
It
sorry.
was
Dude, it's
not
no
the
wonder-
honorable thing to do.
It's no wonder he
Not the
flipped his
honorable thing
shit
to do, yeah.
on
Yeah.
Spider-Man 5 years later, you know? Like, it makes perfect sense to me.
That's actually how he became Doc Ock. Yeah, he realized he needed to clean
That's
up
his
his
origin
act.
Villain
story.
origin story.
He became a scientist.
Yeah,
origin
somebody
story.
sold me half
Yeah.
a key of fucking baking powder,
Yeah.
so I decided to make internal energy.
You know, I'm something of a scientist
So you just,
myself.
yes, no, that's Norman
That's the
Osborn.
movie
How
before.
I know,
fucking
but we
dare
all know
you.
what the fuck I'm talking about.
No, get your memes
Same
out of here.
franchise.
Go back to Reddit,
Just
okay?
memeing it up. Just memeing it up. I'm
Jesus,
just doing my
Jesus.
Reddit.
Happy Cake Day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
wow.
That was a
Yeah.
couple days ago. It was my cake day.
Throwing around cake days now. And so this, like, immediately after this scene, I think, for me, the movie falls off a fucking cliff.
Good,
Wow.
good or bad?
Okay.
Good cliff, bad
Bad.
cliff.
I think it ends in like the most ridiculous way possible,
Interesting.
which
Really?
is
And this
which
is like the
Dirk-
last
yeah.
10 minutes of the movie. At
The
this
last
point.
10 minutes of
This
the
is
movie.
my favorite
Dirk
part of the
Diggler,
movie.
after
Couldn't disagree
experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an awful way to end this film.
Go ahead.
Interesting.
Dirk
I wanna get into
Diggler,
this.
after experiencing this, he goes
I'm gonna
back
go pee.
to
I'll be right back.
he goes back to Jack, and he apologizes to Burt Reynolds' character. He's like, "Man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." They hold
Well,
the
hold on,
camera
real
on him.
quick. This is a great scene. He just walks up, and they don't say anything, and he just hugs them because they like no.
It's
Yeah.
not that he
You know?
doesn't say anything.
They know.
They do a completely different thing from that. They have a long shot
Yeah.
on Mark Wahlberg, and they don't cut back to Jack at any point. And Mark Wahlberg gives this really like pathetic appeal to, like, you know, Burt Reynolds. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Please, man, I fucked up. I'm so sorry." And Burt Reynolds doesn't say anything. And it just like stays trained on Mark Wahlberg for like a very long time, like 30 seconds to a minute
Yeah, it's a long shot.
of him just apologizing. And then finally, Burt Reynolds is like, "I'm sorry too, man." Like, they hug first, and, you know, Burt Reynolds is like, "I'm sorry too, man. Like, you know, I want
That's so
you back
funny
in my
because
life."
I remember the scene totally different.
Hmm.
It was trained.
It
on
happens
Mark
how
Wahlberg.
you happen. How you say. I remember it being a lot less dialogue. That's just how my brain remembers it.
I mean, it's a
But
very
go ahead.
emotionally impactful scene, and they do
Yeah.
get back together. But the thing that fails for me, the thing that falls totally on its face, is that, like, any chance for character growth or for everything that's happened in the movie to matter just completely goes out the window, because what happens instead is, like, they all get back together. Dirk Diggler goes back to being the guy with the huge cock. They're making porn again. Everybody that matters, their lives are all great again, except for Scotty. For some reason, we don't actually find out what happens to Scotty.
I guess we don't know.
But like, yeah, I mean, literally, there is no takeaways for any of the characters. Like, what is the point of these character arcs? And that's my big gripe with the ending of this movie, is they go through a lot of shit after, like, you know, their golden age is over. They grew through a lot of shit, and then suddenly it's like fucking sunshine and daisies because they apologize to each other.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck kind of ending is that?
What was supposed to happen? Were they all supposed to fucking die in a fire?
It's meaningless. It's a completely meaningless ending. We're just right back to the first act.
Because it seems like no one learned anything.
Nobody
Okay,
learned
so
anything
we
except
have-
for Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's arc was perfect,
Wait.
Right.
but
So we have-
everybody else's arc ends in this weird, like, completely, like, meaningless. Like, okay, all you had to do was be a piece of shit for a really long time, and when you hit rock bottom, if you just apologize to one person you've wronged, then, like, your life will get better.
Hold on.
I don't read it that way at all.
Liz, I really want to know what your opinion is on this part of the movie. Because I felt very opposite from you and Ben. So I know I'm jumping back in, but
Yeah, no, go
I
ahead.
think
Well,
I mean
just
I think
really quickly,
yeah, go ahead.
it ends to me. It ends exactly how it needs to end,
Yes.
which is they've drug us through shit. They've drug us through shit, a lot of shit with all these characters, and this is the redemption scenes at the end.
What redemption? Why are these
re- the re-
people any better than they were before? They're doing the
They're not.
exact same things.
Exactly. That's the point. Hold on. Okay. So this is the entire point. And which is why I like this like rise and fall story more than I like The Wolf of Wall Street or any movie that's like that. Is because these people, I mean, first off, you're dealing with, and they show you the cringy awkwardness and kind of disgustingness of the golden age of porn and what it took to make these movies and what kind of mentality that you had to go into to make these movies. And
Sure.
so at
the
the
amount
end,
of coke you had to do.
and the amount of coke that you had to do in the
And how
70s
Coke
in
fucks you up.
general.
Yeah.
Porn, no porn. Everyone is doing coke. I don't know. I wasn't born then. So yes, they start out as these kind of naive people that are just kind of trying like to see their name in lights and stuff like that. And then they go through all this shit, they go through all the lows, and then they come out at the end. And it's not really a redemption, but they go back to the exact same spot where they were. And that's why I like the ending of this movie so much, is because they didn't turn 90 degrees and all of a sudden they're better people and they're like, hey, wait a second.
See,
Let
I
me go
read
to
it
seminars
differently
and
than
explain
that
you
because-
why you shouldn't do porn or anything like that. Because that's what happens
But-
at the end of Wolf of Wall Street. He goes and teaches selling tactics to people instead of going back into the stock market or something like that, or swindling people or anything
Well,
like that.
Wolf of Wall Street is an unfair comparison because Wolf of Wall Street
It's
actually
the same movie.
does a really no because Wolf of Wall Street does what this movie apparently
Same movie.
attempted
Same movie.
to do much better, which is at the very end he gets arrested, he does his time in jail, and it's like rich person jail, and he realizes that like the consequences of his actions are actually not all that bad in the first place, and he's like, wow, man, hedonism isn't bad. And that's the whole point of Wolf of Wall Street. As a movie, thematically, its point is you can be an extremely hedonistic, shitty person, but if you're rich, it won't matter, even if you get your comeuppance, because your comeuppance won't be that bad. And that is exactly what he takes away from it. And that's what's explained to the audience. A lot of people don't like that movie because they think that Martin Scorsese is like, blowing himself with like this display of hedonism with no real consequences for the characters. But this movie is significantly worse because what you're saying does make sense if you do the writing for the for Paul Thomas Anderson, but that's not what they say at the end of the movie. They don't say, oh, it's a rise and fall and then a rise again, where they're setting themselves up to fall in the exact same way because they haven't learned the lesson. What it does is it has a rise and fall, and then they get right back to where they were again. And the movie, watching the movie, plays it off as though like, yeah, see, everything's better now. They try to play it off like it's a redemption. In my opinion, that's the tone I got, was like, it's a redemption. I understand what you're saying, but the movie does not do that.
That's
it
the
does
point.
not.
I think that's
It doesn't. From a plot perspective, it does not tell you that they are setting themselves up for failure again. It never does that.
It tells you that everything's fine now. You're right about that, Ben. You're absolutely
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Really quickly, let me jump in here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Regardless of what feels like it should be, this is my theory about films like this, where, like I said, if they drag you through this amount of shit, regardless of whether it's right or not, they have to end it this way. Because otherwise, you'd be like, "Fuck this movie."
Goodfellas is the same exact way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Because what does he learn from Goodfellas? Absolutely nothing. He's still a piece of shit at the end.
No, well, you guys are. I mean,
And I don't really like that movie.
Pulp Fiction does this exact concept perfectly.
No, nobody's better in that movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I
except
think
for
it's-
I think
except
Jules is
a
better.
lot of people. Yeah, Jules is the one who matters.
Jules.
here's how I
everybody
take
else
the
is
end. Here's how I take the end of this movie is that they're not. They went off. They went through shit. They forgive each other, and now they're back to being this. What do you call it when dysfunctional porn family again? Because that's what they fucking are. That's their. There's no. They didn't really necessarily learn anything from it. I mean, I guess I feel like they did. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
To me at the ending.
Like
But
I said,
there's
Don Cheadle's character arc is great. It's actually really phenomenal how Don Cheadle goes through all this stuff.
And comes out better for it.
And comes out better for it. And like, he actually learns to compromise his morals a little
Where
bit. in
the
order
fuck
to be
is
better.
Rico? That's all I gotta say.
But dude, honestly, like the last 10 minutes of this movie, like it's a total wet fart to me. It's a total Hollywood, like cop out. It really
like it.
Fart.
I
I hate
really liked it.
Hollywood cop outs, man.
I like the
can't
white
stand
part
that.
that is this movie at the ending. I think
Well-
it's great. I think it fits the movie perfectly. I think it caps it off nicely, which I'm not. I don't want everything in a nice bow type thing, but I think this movie needed that, and they did that.
I don't even
think if
I don't
they'd
even
done it
agree
any
with
other
that.
way,
I
the
disagree
movie would
with
have
that.
sucked for me.
Well,
It's like really quickly. And then
Yeah,
I'll
Go
let
ahead.
you-
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, one of my favorite movies that I love so much that I can't remember the name of now. Fuck, it's got the Human Project, and the girl's pregnant in 18 years, and takes place in the future. And fuck,
Oh, Children of Men.
Children of Men.
Oh yeah, Children of Men.
Children of Men.
Jesus.
Not to ruin the ending for anyone, but it ends the way it needs to end too, because they drag you through so much shit. You know, like one of my brothers, he hates the ending of Children of Men because it ends well.
It does not end.
It
well.
doesn't
no,
end well. What
it
are you
does not
talking
end
about?
It does. Hold on.
He fucking
He
dies
it
on the
doesn't.
boat.
He's hold on. He sacrifices himself for
We
that
don't know
child and that woman. She gets taken away by the Human Project on the boat. That's what
Right.
the ending is.
Mhm.
So it does end well. He does that character does exactly.
It ends
what,
with a glimmer of hope.
yes.
And-
Yes.
and
This
you're
is
right.
what
It is,
needed.
and you're right. It does end significantly better than.
So,
this
but my
movie,
brother, like my
because
brother
his
says,
life had a
the movie
point.
is great until the ending. It sucks. She shouldn't have gotten into the boat. It should have ended on a fucking harsh note. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
And I
no, see,
disagree
I
with him.
disagree with that. I don't think it needed to end on a harsh
That
note.
would
because-
movie would have been
Okay,
fucking depressing.
But
if
my
it
point,
hadn't.
really quickly,
Here's
my
my-
point
okay, go
being,
ahead. Yeah,
my
your
point
point.
being, this movie needed to, regardless, in my opinion, this movie
Irregardless.
needed to end, irregardless, which is not a word, fucking motherfuckers, needed to end on a high note. It needed to end on a pleasant note, and that's what they did. Like I said, it doesn't work for you. Like, what do I talk about all the time?
Yeah, no,
I-
that's
but it
fair.
worked for
But
me.
Here's
I think
my
it's great.
argument for objective good, like objectively good or objectively bad from
Really quick.
from
Why?
a
How should
plot
it have ended
perspective.
then? Tell me how it should have ended first. before
I'm
you-
going to ask you a question because I think this is actually more.
The
This
story.
is a more poignant way to understand why I dislike this ending. I'm not going to act like I could rewrite this whole movie. I'm not a fucking
of course.
scriptwriter. But my question is, what is your takeaway from this movie? In other words, why was this movie written?
Because the 70s were awesome.
See, that's
Disco
a
is great.
fucking stupid concept for a
disco.
movie. To
I
me.
love disco.
I
Think so?
gotta say, Ben, that I'm more in your camp in the sense that I spent the whole movie trying to figure out what the message of the movie was.
Really quickly, this is one of those movies that, on Danon's point earlier, the 70s was huge for this, which was Saturday Night Fever, Urban Cowboy. These movies aren't really about anything, and this is that movie also. So to more to
So-
Danon's point, what he was talking about earlier, I agree with you now, because this movie isn't necessarily about anything. It's a giant, it's a Seinfeld kind of thing. Because like if you watch Saturday Night Fever, you're like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has this
Yeah.
emotional ending, but you're like, why?
Yeah.
And why did the
But
guy
is
wanna-
that
it-
good?
It, kind of makes sense, but it doesn't. It's the same kind
would
of
argue
thing.
no.
Where it's a movie.
I-
that's
I would
about-
say probably no too, but I will say this, and this is where I think I differ a little bit. I think at this point I may be reading between the lines a little bit, and I might be reading into it, but by the end of the movie, because the whole, like I said, the whole movie while I was watching it, I was kind of trying to figure out like what's the message? Is it a cautionary tale? Is it not a cautionary tale? What is
Right.
it? And when it was over, and no one really seemed to have fucking learned any lesson, really, I kind of realized that the whole movie, that even though it's a drama and sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's a little bit over the top, actually the movie is really realistic in all the major ways, right? The addiction to coke, these guys getting coked out, and his life basically turning to shambles, and then the violence that ensues. That's actually very real. Even the suicide with William H. Macy, very very common, very real. And that's the reality of the situation, is that a lot of guys just don't learn their lesson. They don't learn their lesson, even though they get dragged through the fucking mud and they get beaten up and have all this
Yeah.
crazy shit happen to them. The reality is a lot of these guys don't learn a great lesson and then take that and then get out of the biz and go, redeem themselves. A lot of them actually don't. And then they just get right back into it. And maybe they didn't learn anything.
Right, but then I would
And
say
maybe that's
go ahead. Sorry.
that's the thing about the movie, is that it's not necessarily that the message is one of redemption or anything like that. The message is this is real life. People
Right.
get themselves into this shit,
Yeah,
and then they don't learn their
and
lesson,
so
and then they
then-
get right
That's
back
not
into
accurate.
it.
And so then
Yeah.
I would just say that in order for that that particular message to come across more effectively, you can't end the movie in the way that it did, because the movie portrays this ending as a redemption. It hits all the notes.
But
Everybody's
in
happy again.
right, but I
I mean,
think
if you
from
think
his
really
eyes,
hard,
it is
yeah.
kind of
Yes.
from his perspective, it's not redemption per se, but it kind of is. Like he's back on the horse,
Yeah, he's back on the horse.
right?
You're right.
So
Yeah.
from his perspective,
His
it is a
father
little
figure
bit of
forgave him. He's
Mhm.
got to be off the coke because there's no way you could do porn and I guess it affects your
Yeah, he might be
Yeah,
on
he had
sexual
a-
organs.
He
So-
might be, but they don't. And maybe it's because the movie's too long and they had to chop out some of the ending. That's very possible. They're like, we have this crazy awesome scene right before the end. Let's just make the ending 10 minutes. Let's cut a
yeah.
bunch of shit.
And that's why. Sorry, but that's why
go
I'm
ahead.
saying that maybe I'm reading into it. I don't know if that's what they were trying to say with the movie, but when I think about it, that's what I take away from it. You know, I don't know if that's what they were trying to say, but when I think about it from beginning to end, it's like, you know what, that is the most realistic ending that could have happened. Actually,
Real quick,
Is
have
he-
you guys
know,
seen Saturday Night Fever?
A long
a
time
long
ago.
time ago?
Because this is a
Mhm.
very Saturday Night Fever feel to it. Because Saturday Night Fever, we should watch this.
I
Because Saturday
don't.
Night
Is
Fever,
that another John Travolta film?
It is.
Yes, and I
it is a
fucking love it.
quintessential.
Oh, God.
but this
Travolta
movie
film.
is also about nothing in a way.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever, which is
That's
a
a good
very
point.
famous film, a very popular film, very well loved back in the day, feels very ad-libbed at times. And you really do come away from it going, "What the fuck was this really about?" kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because it ends on the same kind of way. You know what I mean? So maybe
Yeah.
that's what Paul
But
Thomas
that's just-
Anderson was trying to capture. That's what it feels like to me. That's the reason why I like this movie so much, because I like this type of filmmaking too, where it's what you got from it is it's not pounding you over the head. It's what you get from what you get from it, depending on
That's
your own
kind of
personal
how I
experience,
felt at the end.
right? Like you hate the ending. I fucking love the ending. I'm glad that they.
I think
tied
it's
it up in
just
a
an
nice bow.
objectively
Sorry, Danny.
bad ending.
Yeah. Look,
Okay, yeah.
can I
I
just
hear
want
what
to get
you're saying. I hear what
my
you're saying.
opinion is very set in stone and it's very different from y'all's. But really quick, Liz, I would love to hear what you thought about this movie. I also want to know, I'm just curious, like if you saw this movie before, and if you're talking about your experience before or when we recommended the movie. Did you watch this movie when we recommended it last week? And did you watch it since then? So my opinion on it was, and I just want to let y'all know how I consume movies, as I take them very much at face value. I don't see plot threads when I'm watching a movie. I don't see very obvious what's it called? When they
Themes.
fuck. I hate being slightly drunk. It's like being
Wait to
old.
get old and drunk,
I know.
brother. You won't remember shit.
Foreshadowing. I don't see foreshadowing at
Okay.
all. I don't see plot twists. I don't see any of that stuff until the end of the movie. And I'm like, oh, well, that was obvious when I'm thinking about it. But in the moment, I consume things as they're given to me. And so
Sure.
I will take things at face value 100%. And so when I saw this movie, at the very, like when the ending is happening, I was just like, okay. What I thought was Dirk Diggler thought that his life was at the high point when he first got started in porn.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the movie, he goes back to that point. He's not a great person for it. He's not any better. He didn't learn a lesson because he's right back where he was before his life went to shit. But he's at the same exact point. So maybe he didn't learn any lessons. He's not a different person. His character didn't change. But that's kind of what I liked about it. You know, again, like Wolf of Wall Street, he does learn something from going to prison. You know, you said, Ben, he learns it's
he
not
gets
that
like
bad.
he learns like the complete wrong lesson. I
Yeah,
think, which is the point
he's
of that
just
movie.
like, actually, you know what? It was worth it. The entire fucking thing was worth it. You know, and then same thing, or like Goodfellas at the end. Like he's a paranoid. You know, he's paranoid the entire time. Like the last 30 minutes of the movie, Ray Liotta is losing his fucking mind. And then, I mean, he learns his lesson at the end of that. I can't really remember the end of Goodfellas because I've seen it
I
so many
wouldn't say he
times.
learned
And then,
shit.
okay,
He does
well,
not.
then-
Absolutely does not. It
I-
ends. In fact, it just ends like, and that there you have it. That's Goodfellas.
Okay, maybe
Well,
that's why I'm
Goodfellas
so
is a-
like.
Goodfellas
Maybe that's
is a
why I'm so
cautionary
like.
tale, right?
Okay.
Like it's so the problem that and that's fine. Like it's fine, but the issue with a movie like this, and all I'm doing is speaking for the ending because actually I was very engaged with the movie all the way up to the ending. The ending just feels A, rushed, and B, like it gives this movie a lack of a theme. And
I
a
don't care
movie
about
that
that.
is
Yeah.
thematically lacking to me, when you're engaging with content that has a story and a strong plot and strong characters, when it totally lacks any sort of theme and it totally lacks any sort of like actual ending to character arcs, you end up with like something that totally lacks depth.
Yeah.
And it's
Really-
like, okay, like whatever, that's just candy.
Really
So
quick,
let's see
Ben.
what Liz had to say.
Okay, so I'll read it out. Okay, so based on this is what Liz is saying. Okay, so based on what it is about, it wouldn't have been a movie I would have chosen to watch on my own. So I watched it when it was recommended. It had good parts. I liked the second half better. Okay, that's. I mean, that's when a lot of the shit was going down in the movie. That's when a lot of the emotional
Yeah.
stuff happened, and a lot of what the lessons should have been. And
It
Liz
definitely gets
also
more
says,
interesting.
yeah, at the start of the last half hours was freaking wild. Again, this is when we have the coke scene between the
Yeah,
dealer
that's the big.
and
Yeah,
the
that was
shootout
really
with the all that stuff. I thought it had some elements of good storytelling, but for the story told, it was too long. Yes, I think the movie
Way
was too long.
You
I
coulda
stand by
shaved
that.
a
It did a
solid
good
40
job of
minutes
being
out of it.
emotion provoking at times, though. Yes, again, I agree. Really quick, I would like to say that I don't care what the theme of a movie is. Ben has a really good point, though. Ben has no. Ben has a really good point. Why was a movie written? And I think a movie was written to be entertaining, and I was entertained by this movie, and that's why I don't read into it anymore. I was entertained.
Yeah, it's
And
a
that's
spectacle.
I mean that's just me. That's just personally
I
me.
think it's a
If a
style.
movie entertains me, then that's all I need it to do. If
Yeah.
it doesn't
It's a
entertain me,
style,
it
too,
does
'cause
not work.
What
Yeah.
did he learn from There Will Be Blood?
What do you
All
mean?
right,
What
I'm
did he
finished.
learn from There Will Be
There
Blood?
Will Be
You
Blood
think-
is about
You're
nothing.
gonna fucking tell me
It is
there's
about
no
nothing.
themes in There Will Be
Kills
Blood?
Eli, and he goes, "All right, I'm finished," and the movie's
How
done.
are you going to sit there and
I
tell me
like
that
your
There
movie.
Will Be Blood is thematically similar to this movie?
I totally.
There
say
Will
it's
Be Blood
thematically
has
similar.
such
All right.
deeper themes. That's
Well-
why Daniel Day-Lewis got
Hold
a
on,
fucking
hold on,
Oscar.
hold on. You're getting way too mad about this, Ben. But
That's just Ben.
like I talk about all the time. It's Ben's way.
Yeah.
All the time is you go into every movie, right, with your own emotions about things. And what you're talking about, you're arguing objectivity, and I always argue emotion, right? A lot of this is emotional, and if it doesn't work for you, then you become objective.
I enjoyed a huge portion of this movie.
know what I
I'm
mean?
just saying that
So-
objectively, to end it the way that they did was a poor ending because it,
Well,
it
and
totally
my-
deprives the movie of any themes.
My point being, because it didn't work for you emotionally, you looked at it objectively. It worked for me emotionally, but objectively, I totally agree with you.
No,
I agree.
and the same thing.
But
There's
emotionally,
you can't
it
learn
works for
anything
me,
from this
so
movie.
I don't.
Well, I
think
mean, I
about
think you guys are just assuming that I don't like the movie. I don't like
No,
the
I
ending.
don't.
You're
I don't.
just
I
talking
don't
about
see
the
that.
ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about what I always talk about. Is when you guys like the Nice Guys and I didn't because it didn't work for me.
Mhm.
Emotionally, it didn't work for me. So objectively, I tore it to pieces. And I'm not saying you're tearing this to pieces. I'm just saying it worked for you emotionally up until the ending, and then it became objective for you because it didn't work emotionally. Because think about it.
Well,
most of the,
I mean,
hold
I
on.
was actually
Most of the
with-
things about storytelling is not objective. It's emotion.
Well,
And
I
if
mean,
you're not
I,
involved emotionally, you're going to be objective about it.
you can write an objectively bad story. You can.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
possible.
This movie is the example of that. You cannot learn anything from watching this movie. There's no good theme you can take
Yeah,
away from it.
that's
You know,
true.
there's
You're
nothing.
watching
It
a
is
story.
entertaining,
But is
but
entertaining.
I will say that one of the frustrations for me with the ending is that I did feel like up until that point they were working towards saying something.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I felt
I
like
think
up
they're
until
saying
that
drugs
point,
are bad. I think they're saying that getting addicted.
they
to
were
drugs is
making
bad.
some messages clear, and so because they were saying things and they were actually sending some messages in the movie, it did feel a little weird, like the bottom dropped out at the end because then there's no message at the end.
I
There's
do
no
agree with
clear
that.
definitive message at the end. But throughout the rest of the movie, it felt like they were trying to say something. And then because so for me, I feel like if you're trying to say something in the middle of the movie or whatever, then the conclusion you need to either reiterate that point or make your final point or whatever. If you're going to try and say something in the middle of the movie, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of why for me, when the movie ends and then there is no message, it's like, well, but I thought you were trying to say something earlier, and then it turns out that there is nothing to say.
Well,
You know
again,
what
I
I'm
would say
saying?
that
Yeah.
this is the style, the filmmaking style is like this, where it has emotional parts,
Mhm.
but it overall, it's just a kind of there's no real hard story structure.
You know what it
No
could
beginning,
be?
middle, and end, right?
You
In
know
a
what it
way.
could be too?
Mhm.
It could actually be for me a Seinfeld isn't funny type of scenario where like maybe
Yeah.
this movie when it was released, it was really impressive that they managed to create such a gripping story that kind of didn't go anywhere, like you were saying, like a story about nothing. But I guess like I would just, I mean, for me personally, I would just watch Pulp Fiction.
Mm.
If I wanted to watch a story about nothing that feels more satisfying.
Pulp Fiction's another great example of a story that begins and ends
Kind of
and
ambiguously. I agree with
told
that.
in
I
pieces.
totally agree.
It's told in pieces, but it's so entertaining, and it has so many great emotional beats and stuff. It worked. It totally works for
Mhm.
you. It
Yeah.
totally
Right.
works.
It,
I
it,
love
it's
Pulp
funny
Fiction.
that movie came out, 3 years prior to this one.
Yeah.
And this one feels to me very much in the same style of Pulp Fiction, which I mean, I might have made a comment
Really?
about that if I watched
Could
this
be any
movie
more
in
different.
'97. If I watched this movie in '97, I would be like, so Paul Thomas Anderson is just trying to rip off Pulp Fiction, huh? That's what he's doing, and he's doing a worse job at it.
Yeah.
but
I'd say he's trying to rip off of Goodfellas.
yeah, this movie is
Has
told with
huge
continuity,
Goodfellas.
and Pulp Fiction's not. Pulp Fiction is
Yeah.
all over the place, right? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and it's
And
fair.
Pulp
but, like,
Fiction
that's just more
has,
impressive.
like,
The French style, or whatever
Right,
that is.
right. And in this movie follows Mark Wahlberg almost the whole time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Whereas Pulp
it's
Fiction will completely
continuous
ditch
story.
Bruce Willis's character for
Yeah.
entire portions of the movie, and then
It seems
Right,
like
and it's
in
funny
this-
that something that violates more best practices of storytelling is somehow a more engaging and better film to me personally.
No, I mean that's completely fair.
Hmm.
I mean, that's the interesting thing, and that's what we always say: is art is subjective. So whatever you take from it is
Yeah.
very personal to you. And so
yeah, and that's exactly right, because I really don't think the movie was trying to tell me anything at the end. I think they didn't have anything to say, but I still personally got something from it.
I think they're
You
just they were just telling a story.
yeah,
They were telling
and
a story, and they were
you
ending
get
it.
from it
And then
what
I
you want to
got
get from
my
it.
own takeaways from it
Yeah.
that I don't even know if they were trying to tell that to me intentionally, but that was my own personal
And
takeaway. So
that's the art is subjective part of it. I mean, you could definitely
Yeah.
take stuff away from art, and a lot of times you should. And this is a very artistically done film. The cinematography is great. The acting's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take away any of those merits from the film. I just feel like plot wise, to end it the way that it does is frustrating to me because of the way they were telling the story. I guess Jeremy really nailed it on the head. The way they were telling the story felt like it was going to go somewhere. It felt like
Mhm.
they were doing the things that you would expect would lead to a story with a meaningful ending,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
towards just like hey, anyways, like that was crazy, wasn't it? All right, roll credits.
It,
Right.
it's we really got to watch Saturday Night Fever because it is a Saturday Night Fever style, which was a movie made in the 70s.
well, they pass off all those themes onto Don Cheadle's storyline.
Yeah.
At the
Well,
end,
Don Cheadle's,
he
and like I
opens
said,
up
Don
the
Cheadle's
thing.
storyline is phenomenal. It's so good. It's perfect.
Yes.
I wish the whole
so-
movie
I
drew
know.
inspiration from that part.
But that's what I like about it. Again, like I love this movie for the supporting characters and the supporting storylines, and that's where you can get a lot of themes that you want from the movie. But at the end of the day, this movie, like these people are going back. I'm like again, we were none of us were in the same era as the golden porn or golden age of porn, so we don't really know what it was like. But from what we've heard from documentaries, I'm sure from all of us, at least me personally, I should talk about myself personally, from watching shows like The Deuce, which is an HBO show that has Jeremy, help me out, one of your favorite guys. It's got Maggie Gyllenhaal and the dude that James Franco playing his own twin, where it's about the disgusting
Franco.
side of porn, and you hear about that a lot about the 70s and Ron Jeremy and like all these people that were just like gross and creepy,
Filthy.
Deep Throat. The Blue Movie, like all these really kind of gross, like played for the sex movies, and you hear about that a lot. And so when for me, I'm watching this movie, and then they, you're watching characters go through the same age, and at the end of the movie, they just start right back where they were, trying to get back into porn again, and trying to, recapture that same glory. You're just like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But,
pay
you know,
attention
I
to
guess
everything
another
else.
thing that I just thought of right now is that another reason I wouldn't say this. I wouldn't go as far to say I was frustrated at the end of this movie, but I was just left feeling like, wait a second. I think another part of it is because it doesn't end on a note of necessarily redemption, but it's also not a tragedy either. Like
Yeah.
if you watch
I
some
don't think
movies,
it's supposed to be.
and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But that's kind of part of, I think, what you're talking about, Ben, is that it doesn't. It's not like it's a tragedy, and then this is why it's a cautionary tale, but it's not necessarily a redemption or a success either, because he's right back where he was before, and he's good with that. He's good with that. So it's neither a total tragedy or a success. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like, yeah, it's almost like it's a comedy where, you know, the third act where things are supposed to get kind of sad so that you have a break from laughing at it comes back into being a comedy at the end. Like, you know, a lot of movies do that, that are just quintessential comedies. But like, because it dips so far into like realistic thriller, I guess, uh it's
agree with
like
that.
when it comes back and it literally ends on the note of Mark Wahlberg pulling down his pants and looking at his giant dick and being like,
Well, they
I am
finally
a
show you the dick.
star. Yeah, they finally show you the dick. And that scene is played off like the first
That
act of
holds
the movie.
so long on his penis. I was just like, dude, you got.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though,
Stop.
That
too.
was the payoff.
And it's
That
something
was
we
the whole
look-
payoff. That's what I should have taken away from the movie was Mark Wahlberg's giant dick.
You're there to see.
Don't have a
prosthetic dick.
personality. Have
Yeah.
a giant penis. That's all you need.
Yeah, but I think too. It's like this movie, and not that, and most movies don't follow this format. Most movies are beginning, middle, and end. You learn something, go to the innermost cave, bring back the moon, the man, all that shit, right?
Sure.
This isn't that style of movie, and so you're not going to get that same experience from it.
I'm
it's
not,
just-
yeah, but I'm saying the experience I got from it was left me feeling wanting. If you're going to
Yeah.
break
Yeah,
from a best
same.
practice, you have to be good enough at doing that to where it's an engaging film. And that's
But,
why.
back to my point
you know,
of
Go
it
ahead.
didn't work for you, but it did for me. I've
Mhm.
seen this movie. I saw this movie when it first came out. I've seen it several times since. I love this movie. I think it's a great movie. It has always worked for me. I've never felt like, well, that was weird. Everybody at the end's all just happy now.
Yeah.
It felt right to me because it felt right to me.
That's an
You know what I
interesting
mean?
point because
Yeah.
By the way, the movie.
Ben has a really good point. Like I
goes.
did feel wanting. I was like, there's no resolution to that movie, but because of that, I like the ending. I don't know how to explain it, but it was
really,
just like
really quick to my,
yeah,
my
it's
point
worked.
though too is like, and not that you want this from movies necessarily all the time. You want a story told, beginning, middle, and end, and you get something from it, right? There's resolution. There's something. This
Well, it's a
movie
best
is
practice,
more
yeah.
realistic.
Mhm.
Exactly.
It's just a best
it's how a
practice, yeah.
It's tried
storytelling
and
is done.
true.
This movie doesn't follow that format, and it's more realistic. Not that I necessarily want this for movies most of the time. Most of them, I don't want realism for movies. I
Yeah.
want adventure. I want fake. I want bullshit
Mhm.
that I would never experience. Right? That's why we go to movies.
Yeah.
But I think this is what this movie does: is it's more realistic in the fact that no, these people wouldn't learn
Exactly.
shit.
Mhm.
Most people don't. And I
Exactly.
mean, think about reality. Think about your own
You
life.
know,
You
And that's what
kinda
I
don't
got away
change
from it
much.
At the
You
end,
kind of
of it,
don't
that-
change
yeah.
much, and then you get set in your ways, and then this is who the fuck you are.
and that's a totally fair takeaway. But actually, I realized that it kind of goes back to what I think I've mentioned on this podcast before, which is fridge logic. Alfred Hitchcock is the guy that came up with the term fridge logic. It's where you watch the movie, you get home, you open the fridge to see what's in the fridge, and then you think back to that movie you watched a couple hours ago, and you go, "Hey, wait a minute." and Alfred Hitchcock's argument was literally, I don't give a fuck about fridge logic. Were you watching the movie when you were in the movie theater? Did
Yeah.
it work for you in that moment? Then it's fine. I think that actually now though, because of like trends like Seinfeld isn't funny, even though it was a groundbreaking thing at its time, like because so many things have done Seinfeld better as a result of inspiration from Seinfeld.
Also, Jerry Seinfeld
Um,
is not funny. I'm sorry. Hot take.
it's
Yeah.
Jason Alexander is funny.
Jason
Jerry
Alexander
Seinfeld
very
is not funny.
Yes.
But I think as a result of the I don't know, the progression of film and storytelling, something like this for me needs to stand up to fridge logic, because if I watch a movie and as soon as it ends I go, well, that wasn't very good, and then I think, man, I would never sit and think about that movie ever again. There's like no reason for me to like pay any thought to the movie, or it's not like an interesting enough movie to like think about or like look up online and be like, what was that all about? Like, what was this scene about? Like, if a movie doesn't contain that, then to me it's like it's really it lacks a lot of depth. And if
Well,
the
I
movie
think we're
lacks
still talking
depth,
about what we've been
then it's
talking
just
about,
like-
which
yeah.
is,
Mhm.
Did it work for you, or
Yeah.
or
and
not?
it's subjective.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
we
well,
gotta
I'm-
end this
I'm
fucking-
explaining
We got to
why-
end this fucking podcast because now we're going in circles
Yeah.
about the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
But we're going on 2.5 fucking hours. I think. We got to end it. gotta eat.
Damn, it is
it's
almost
2
8
hours.
o'clock.
It's like 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's give final thoughts. I'll go first. I never go first, so I'm gonna go first. So
really go
I give this movie an 8 out of 10. I liked seeing Mark Wahlberg. That's the earliest role I've ever seen Mark Wahlberg in, and I was very pleasantly surprised by the way he did his acting and all that stuff. Also, again, I love the supporting characters. I thought the supporting stories were fantastic. I thought they were better than the main plot line, and you learned a lot more from those stories. Again, I give points to the fact that the movie ended the way that it did, where it's these people didn't learn from their mistakes necessarily, or they came full circle back to the part where in their lives where they thought they had it best, right before it all went to shit, when you can kind of as an audience member see that it's probably going to go to shit again, so maybe not a good storyteller or theme teller. But yeah, engaging movie. I'd seen it before, and so this is again, I want to point out, I've seen a lot of these movies before, and so when I take naps while I'm watching them, it's because I've seen them, but I'm just refreshing. But I stayed awake during this movie because it's been a while since I'd seen it.
How old are you?
So
Do you take naps? How old are you?
well, it's like 3 p.m. I've just eaten Whataburger.
I'm
And I'm
not
sitting
mad,
on my
dude.
couch.
Whataburger.
Yeah.
Goodness.
3 p.m.
I
is prime
I
nap
come
time.
home and I take my belt off, and I eat my Whataburger. And I'm laying on the
Come
couch.
take my belt
You
off.
know,
Right?
I don't want to be
I'm
constrained.
mad.
I don't want to be constrained.
Right?
You
I heard
know?
you.
Stomachs,
Goodness.
yeah. So, but yeah. So I mean, 8 out of 10. I think it did exactly. I think Paul Thomas Anderson did exactly what he wanted to do with it. I love the controversy surrounding it. I love how Burt Reynolds hated the movie, even though he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
And Mark Wahlberg hates this movie too.
Does he
Oh,
really?
does he?
Huh?
It's one of the few films that he went on record saying that he regrets ever making.
Really?
Why?
Interesting.
Well,
It
it's a
started his
recent thing.
career.
He didn't always feel that way, but he became. I guess he was always kind of religious or Christian, but maybe like
Oh.
5 years ago, he got really deep into his faith, and he went on Conan and told. They asked him like, "What movies do you regret making?" And the first one that came out of his mouth was Boogie Nights.
I have another theory.
Interesting.
I think it's because everyone thought he had a giant dick and he doesn't really have a giant dick. And that
Maybe.
It could be
pissed him
true.
off.
Yeah.
'Cause
All right.
everyone's
Let's go on.
his
Subconscious
dick,
thing.
and he's like,
Okay.
He got,
But and I
he
think
got really
this
into
also
the faith for that, just to get back at the fact that he doesn't
my
have a
crap
giant
can.
penis.
It's just a crap can theory, but it's my theory.
yeah.
All right. So
But
next,
I also think that gets back.
So
to
what's your
like,
rating? What's your rating?
Yeah. What's your rating, Jeremy? Yeah. Let's
My
get
rating?
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
no,
get yours.
I'm getting to my rating.
Yes.
Oh, okay. My rating is like a 6.5. I didn't love this movie. It was fun to watch it. I don't think I would rewatch it, only because it's really too long, and
Yes,
I really
it's
did
a
start to
long
check
movie.
out at some point.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just like there's an overdose scene, then this person's crying, then Julianne Moore's crying, and then she's freaking out, and then this. I was just
Who's
like,
crying?
man, it's a little long, and I started to check out.
Really?
And it was fun, but it's also depressing. So I don't know if it would be a movie that I'd be stoked to rewatch again because of how depressing it is, coupled with the fact that it's so long. But it was really fun to watch. So it's not that I hated it. So I guess like a 6.5 or a 7, for me.
Okay. Dad.
I would give it a
Ben.
6.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give it a 6. I mean, I think Jeremy, hit it on the head with like it's really long. I also felt checked out. I think not necessarily because it was long, but just because like the characters for the most part sucked, except for Don Cheadle. Like they're just bad people and they're doing bad people things, and like I don't.
And there's
I don't
like
know.
mentally unstable people being mentally unstable.
Yeah, and
Not-
after a
not
while,
growing, really.
that's not a hook anymore, So I agree with that. But it was engaging, especially the third act of the film. The best scenes in this movie are amongst best scenes of a lot of great movies. But the rest of the movie just doesn't support those scenes. And for that reason, I think I wouldn't watch this movie again either. I might pull up those clips on YouTube and be like, yeah, that was really well shot. But yeah, 6 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody.
Really quick, I want to see for those of you in the chat that have seen it, especially you, Liz. I want to get your ratings out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh, yeah,
interested.
yeah, yeah. Tell
I'm
us your
interested to see what you
ratings.
guys think about Boogie Nights. Give us your ratings. Dad, what's yours?
Heavy 8. Heavy 8. I really like this
Okay.
film. I think it's perfectly paced. It doesn't feel long to me at all.
Hmm.
I've seen it several times. I probably pull it out once every couple of years. It's not a once a year for me. But I really like this film. I've always, like I said, I've never felt it. It never felt long to me. And it's again, like I said, I like this style of filmmaking. It's not something I like to watch a lot per se, but when it's done well, the way Paul Thomas Anderson does it well, it totally works for me. And like I said, I never, honestly, it's funny. All the stuff you're seeing up at the ending, it makes sense, and you're right. I never saw it though. I feel you're right. It kind of just out of nowhere, it's something like, oh, everything's fine again. You know what I mean, kind of thing. But it always felt right to me, so I never questioned it. You know. But yeah, this is I really like this film. I always have ever since I first saw it. And yeah, I give it a heavy 8. And big fan of his. I love There Will Be Blood, which would be a 10 for me.
Yeah. There Will Be Blood's a 10 for me as well.
We will have to do that movie eventually because I haven't seen that movie.
It's a very good movie.
I would love to watch that
I
movie.
can say I would definitely recommend this movie just for the performances.
I would recommend it.
Yeah.
If for no other reason, if people want to see some really great performances from a great ensemble,
yeah,
I mean they're all so good. You know, just for that alone, I would recommend it. You know?
Okay. I want to give Liz's rating really quick. So Liz in the chat says, I wouldn't rewatch, but a 7.1. Have a little bit more gripes with it, but didn't feel like typing. Fair.
It's a 7 period, not a 7.1. It's just
okay, 7. Okay, 7. I'm looking on my iPad, so it's 7 period and then I, and then the next line starts.
It's a
so I thought 7.1.
I give it a 7.1.
Okay.
I get a 7.I.
It's just the spacing of the paragraph. So awesome. And not to bring it back to the ending, but I didn't think the ending was realistic. Yeah. So
thank you, Liz. I'm glad we can
thank
agree
you,
on
Liz.
this one.
I love the input. Thank you. Oh,
no, Liz, you're right this time.
Someone has to tell her.
I agree. I agree with Liz.
Every podcast, I know. It was us last time. All right.
Well, she was right last time, right? On the nice guys, right?
And that's where.
Yeah, that's because she agreed with you. Yeah.
Yeah, she was right last time, and now she's wrong.
Okay. Oh, please. She's only 1 point below you. Ben was even lower than you.
So I thought she was 0.9 points
7?
below me.
No, she's 7.
She's 1.
No, she's 7.
No, 7.1. Remember?
Okay. Anyways,
all right, we're done.
So, all right, we're done with that.
Dana, play the outro.
I don't have an outro song yet. I have to write an outro song.
Yeah, Jeremy does the outro.
Yeah.
Go,
this
Jeremy.
concludes our.
Wait. Hold on. We're not even at our outro yet. So I want to say for next week, the three of us, except for Jeremy, I don't know if you've seen it yet, Jeremy, but the Queen's Gambit. I would love to do the Queen's Gambit because it came out on Netflix end of October, and it's a great series. It's a limited series.
It is a great series.
7 episodes.
Queen's Gambit. When are we going to do it, Dana? Aren't you moving next Tuesday?
I am moving next Tuesday.
That's going to be tough to do.
It's going to be a little tough to do a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
We might have to push that back to like Wednesday. So if we did
Wednesday, I cannot do next Wednesday, but Thursday works for me.
Okay, Thursday night we're gonna switch it up. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Is everybody okay with that?
Because we do it the Thursday after the Wednesday. Go ahead, Jeremy. What were you gonna say?
I don't know if I'll be working Thursday night yet. I'll let you know as soon as possible.
Okay. All right.
We'll see. That's usually the night we rehearse.
Oh yeah. Also that.
So Thursdays that's why we do it this way because.
If you can rehearse on Tuesday somehow and then do the Thursday thing, that would be ideal.
Well, that's up to you and Tony's schedules.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
I'll just. When do I have my schedule?
Get some serious.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
Let's end this. Have to say. Okay, yeah. Let's end this.
Okay.
What about Liz? What is her rating on what night we should do it?
Thank
Liz,
you.
what do you want to talk so yeah, the Queen's Gambit next week. I'll post it in the Discord again. We're on Discord, so you can join it. It's in the description of this podcast, and then also our Instagram too. I'll be posting when we're going to be doing the episode. But yeah, Queen's Gambit next week sometime. Jeremy, talk us out with your luxurious voice.
This concludes our coverage of Boogie Nights, a 1997 film. I've been Jeremy Dallas.
I've been
And good night.
Oh man!
This entire time, I've been Jeremy Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been
also Cyberpunk 2077 tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 comes out tomorrow night.
Busy.
I'm gonna be so busy.
I bought a new motherboard.
I have been Dana Waters.
Yeah.
I've been Ben.
There we go. Cool.
I've been Daryl Waters for a long, long time.
All right. Well, thank you for
70s.
joining in. Again, our Discord and our Instagram are in the descriptions. You can follow us there, get all the updates, new stuff that we're doing, and then, of course, when we're doing the next episode. So sometime next week, keep an eye out for it. But thank you for joining in on the live stream. I love the chat. I love getting that interaction. So thank you guys.
Chat's great.
Yeah.
Have a good night. We'll see you later.